Good evening.
Hello. This is Wednesday. We're at the end of February,
What's the date?
February 26th.
26. I totally lost count of
Yep.
the dates.
Yep, and there's
Look at
only
this.
28 days, excuse me, in February.
My
So
goodness.
we're almost through February. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Because February is a cold month here in New York, and we had lots of snow.
Yeah, a lot of snow. It's melting now.
Yeah, we had some rain, and it was warm today.
Yeah.
It's kind of like flip-flopping,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to get cold again.
Yeah.
So who's on to say hello? Oh, let's see.
I didn't get in.
Let's say hello. I wanted to hold this, so I'll go on the phone. And as everyone is coming on, tonight's theme is keep living your life with blank. And you get to fill in the blank, not us.
I get to fill in it with some too.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. Everybody can fill it in.
Yeah,
with some.
yeah. Everybody's going to fill it in.
Yep.
All right, so fixing my faith. And we're on live. Okay, here we go. All right, so we can see who's in the chat. Okay, well, we know John. John Marciano was the first one on. Thank you, John. And then Jen C. Hi, Jen. That's not the Jen. This is a
Another
different Jen. And then there's ST Copilot and Jane Spitfire. You gotta stay in the thing, honey. She's counting. He counts all day.
Yeah. I count all day.
Honey, can you make it so you're
What happened?
you're half in the
Well,
frame?
you just have to rotate.
All right, Jane Spitfire. Hello, Jane. And let's see. We have KP.
You didn't cut my hair.
No. KP, sorry. Hi, all. I'm in counseling. Love to all and to Joe and Fran. Thank you, KP. Thank you for joining us. Faded in San Diego. Hello, all. Rebecca Wise from Texas. And of course, my good wife. Ruby Quinn is here. Ruby had an excellent program last night.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of things we were talking about. Very, very good.
Nadine.
Keith Silver. And
Dehydrated nurse.
Yep, dehydrated nurse. How are you feeling, dehydrated nurse? I know you've been dealing with a lot of sickness. David.
Shaq. Hi,
Hey,
Shaq.
everyone. And let's see, Debbie Moore. We were just talking to
good,
Debbie. Hi, I'm just watching,
Yeah.
but not up to
Can you
chatting.
give her some extra love?
I love you all. Debbie said thank you for the cards. She really, really,
She
really
does.
appreciates them.
She's working hard at getting better and needs support.
She goes to therapy every day. She's getting stronger, but in the meantime, she got the flu, so that kind of knocked her down.
Yeah.
But she truly appreciates the cards. So if anyone wants to send Debbie a card, we'll give you the address. And Dinah Lost is here. Thank you, Dinah, for joining us. Anyone else? You said Shaq. Okay. Wow. And Ricky Bobby. Thank you, Ricky Bobby. Good to see you all coming in. We can start with the birthdays. So since we're still in February, we'll do February and then the beginning of March because we'll miss some of March's. So February 1st, Trudy Lynn, Daniel Bartels, and Norma Jean Bennett. The 5th was Marcella, Joe's sister, and Erica, our niece. And on the 8th, Del Real Love was the 8th. Yes, okay. And Emily Dilger. On the 10th, our daughter Liddy, Debbie Moore celebrated her birthday. Vivian and Dinah lost Dad. It was his birthday on the 10th. On the 11th, our great niece was born, Ava Marie. Ava Marie, she was so sweet. 8 pounds. 8 pounds. She's a large baby, and the mom is tiny. And on the 13th, her dad had a birthday, and he said that was the best birthday he could ever have. That was Matt Malecki. Also on the 13th is Stacy DeYoung. Let's see, on the 17th, Matthew Gallman. And on the 19th, King Tony's son. That's Ruby's cousin. On the 20th, Mr. CIA turned 77. And Chris Parsons. That was on the 20th. The 21st, Tara Rice. On the 22nd, June, as we know, her name is Deanna, and my brother Pete Pinella. The 23rd, Tony Pittio. The 24th, Brian Brown. The 27th, Vanessa Braychek and Colin Plummer. And on the 29th, if there was a 29th, but there's not this year, is Susan Carmack. So she gets to celebrate her birthday every 4 years. For the February, let's see. And since we are going to miss a few of the beginning of March birthdays, we'll mention those too. So March 1st is yours truly, Joe.
Older and older.
And Wendy Davis. That'll be on Saturday, March 1st. And on March 2nd is my birthday. We're 1 day apart. And we will be how old?
73.
73, yeah. Also on my birthday, I share it with Shauna, my good wife.
Oh,
We
nice.
both have the same
Nice.
birthday. And Martin Haw, it's his birthday. And on the 3rd is Stefan, and he lives in near Indiana, Illinois. The 5th, which will start up next week, and we can stop there, is Indira Mako Brown. So we'll stop there for the March birthdays, and then we'll read the rest of them next week. So if you have a birthday in March, please let us know. But we have a birthday song right now.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Okay. That's so nice. Thank you for doing that, Shauna. And okay, so anniversaries. In February, we had Severia and Bernard celebrated their 39th anniversary. On the 13th, Ruby and her husband, 11 years married. And on the 19th, Ken and Dina Mayo celebrated 42 years. So that is it for the anniversaries. And if we have any anniversaries in March, please let us know. Okay, we have an anniversary song too.
We're about to have a beautiful time. To throw a party tonight. Hey, it's been a really long day for me. I should be living my life. Hey, because time won't wait for me. All to throw a party tonight. Hey, me and my friend, and I be happy that I made it. Yeah, to the end of the day, that's right. So I guess I throw a party tonight. Hey.
Okay, we just noticed that Elaine Brain Drain is in the comments. Hi, Elaine. Thank you for joining us. And Susan Gullen is here. So Susan just celebrated her birthday, right? Just said her name. So, no, Matthew Gullen, I'm sorry. Okay. One other thing before we get to our guest tonight, we have meetups. And if you go on the website ExJWFriends, it's a website that Shauna put together. And people are actually going there. We're getting several new people from ExJW Friends, and they give us their email. We connect with them, and then we connect others. So we met Parker in Los Angeles is looking for meetups. If anyone in the Los Angeles area is interested in having a meetup, we also let JP or Shat Composer know. He's in that area. And Karina, they've hosted meetups before. There was also someone from Chicago that's interested in meetups. So anyone in the Chicago area, surrounding areas, please let us know. So, we can let the folks know that there are people interested. But as far as for March coming up, March 21st. Is it really so? Let me just check something here. Did you want to see something while I'm checking?
Not really.
Okay.
We look forward to nice sharing tonight. We really do. And I think we've got some nice things and maybe a little uncomfortable things too. Because not all conversations are pleasant, but they are useful. And I appreciate the openness of the friends that come. And if it's difficult, just come to understand why it may be difficult, and it'll help a little bit. Maybe you can identify exactly what it is.
There's a mistake on the ExJW Friends. There's a date correction. So Connecting Cultures in Brooklyn. It's going to be this Saturday, March 1st, not March 21st. I probably made that mistake. So it's this Saturday at 4 o'clock. It's going to be at the Brooklyn Museum. If anyone is interested, they're going to tour the Egyptian part of it. Then probably they're going to have happy hours somewhere. So if anyone's interested, just go to the Liberati group and let Ryan know that you're interested in the Brooklyn meetup. And then on March 13th, on a Thursday at 8 p.m., there's going to be an online group discussion. That'll be March 13th. And all are welcome to join our March group discussion, which will feature a special interview in honor of Women's History Month. Host Ryan, Ann, and the Liberati on Thursday, March 13th at 8 p.m. to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. So all that information is on the ExJW Friends website. But like I said, the correction for the Connecting Cultures is this Saturday, March 1st. I think that's it for the announcements. And did you want to get right into Jen?
I think we should. I think it would be nice. Yeah. Jen, we have someone backstage now. Jen, I don't know if anyone knows.
Hi.
Her. Hello, Jen. Thank you for coming.
And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate
You're welcome.
the space that you've created.
Oh, well, thank you. It's made up of fine friends. How's the sound for everybody before we get started?
Can you guys hear me?
You're a little in the background.
Yeah, you're
Jen.
a little faint.
Okay, is this any better?
Well, very little. You sound
Very
distant.
little.
You sound distant.
Yeah, just a little louder. At least on our end. How,
Thank you.
can everyone hear Jen?
Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Rebecca said it's good here.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little quiet.
Yeah, it is quiet, Jen. It is quiet.
It was, okay, I'll try to speak up.
Are you close to your microphone?
Yeah, may I ask what are you using? What mic or what?
I'm just using my phone.
Okay.
Okay, that's better. It was that last one was better.
Okay, well,
You may have
yeah,
yeah.
I was a lot closer. Okay.
Oh, that's better.
That's
That's
good.
better.
That's no stress.
Okay, so I really appreciate that you guys are taking, or you're willing to have the hard conversations, the ones that don't always sit well, the ones that push us beyond what's comfortable. Because healing isn't just about surrounding ourselves with what feels good, but it's also about looking at the full picture, even when it's painful. So if we're truly going to understand what's happening in the organization, we have to separate the person from the system. This is something I see in my own family. I love my parents, but when the organization comes up, something shifts. They stop being individuals and become mirrors of the system, repeating its teachings, its language, its judgments. And what's unsettling is Watchtower admits it. Their entire in their literature. They tell us to become reflections of the system, to replace our thoughts with theirs, to lose ourselves. And that is exactly what happens, not just to us, not to our just to our families, but also to our offenders. When we only look at the individuals, we miss the bigger issue. This system is designed to create harm. The repression, the shame cycles, the control over our thoughts and our emotion, it all fosters dysfunction. This is why we see so many victims and why we see so many offenders in the JW community. This isn't about excusing individuals. It's about understanding why this keeps happening so we can actually stop it. Let's take a moment to consider what happens when somebody fights the urge with suppression instead of healing. They don't overcome it. They lose control, or at least many of us have when we were leaving the organization. We see this in Watchtower's approach to the so-called sinful behaviors. A witness struggling with pornography addiction might turn to the organization for help, only to be bombarded with images, detailed descriptions of what they should avoid. Instead of addressing the root issues, Watchtower plants images in their minds, links them to shame, and locks them into a cycle of suppression and obsession. That's not healing. That's programming. And I know this on a deeply personal level. I've shared my story with ExJW Diaries, and on there, I had told about my experience when I tried to take my own life. It wasn't just a passing thought, it was an impulse. The action felt almost like a requirement. When I later started studying how the Watchtower programs behaviors, it became clear. This organization manipulates emotions and implants subconscious triggers in the exact same way we see in the MK Ultra programming. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about people who have caused harm, we have to ask, did they wake up one day and decide to be this person? Or were they shaped by a system that is set up for it? This doesn't mean that there's no accountability, but it does mean that we need to rethink our approach. If someone has served their time, taken full responsibility, and now is actively working to prevent others from following that same path, isn't that a kind of conversation we need to have? I know that this is a hard discussion. It's uncomfortable, but if we refuse to look at the patterns, we are playing into the same system that keeps us trapped. The same system that has taught us to shut down anything that challenged our worldviews. So I leave this as an open question. What do we want? Punishment, understanding, or change? Because if we truly want to break the cycle, we have to be willing to have these conversations. And I appreciate that you guys are willing to have these conversations.
Oh, and I'm so glad you're sharing it, Jen.
They said they couldn't hear us as well, so we have to speak up.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you're sharing it with us, Jen.
Could you hear me okay?
Yes.
They heard you fine. They said we're like about a 4, and you were about 11. So they heard you.
Wow.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So,
Jen, is there anything else at this point you wanted to say?
No, I do see that there's a lot of kind of fighting in the community because of things that we've done in the past. But just remember, we were all part of this programming, and it's everywhere. It is so deep in there that even like this fireplace has some kind of ingrained um, programming in it. So we got to be gentle to each other.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to share something from what I resonate with that myself. And you were going to say something.
No, go ahead. I was going to, what you're talking about.
I became what Watchtower wanted me to become. I really did, because I felt that was the right thing to do. And on the other hand, I felt horrible for doing it. Now, that may not make any sense, and frankly, it didn't make any sense to me at the time. But I felt it was a situation that I was responsible to my family for. And the Watchtower was directing as to how I should carry it out. Again, don't forget, these people in our minds were God's representatives. And they held the information that we needed for our children's future, their protection. And I wondered why it was so severe and why it was so fear and destruction oriented. That's frankly all it was. It was fear and destruction oriented. It wasn't faith and love oriented. It truly wasn't. It just wasn't. And I wondered, well, I guess they must know better. I'm not pretending to be the one, a representative of God. They are. And I was there. And I was there. Either I take it seriously or I don't. And I unfortunately took it seriously. I became someone that I didn't want to become to my family, to my children. Severe. As severe as that organization was. As much a bully as they were, and as the elders were with people who run into trouble, a bully.
Yeah, and I was the wife that supported that, thinking that I was doing the right thing, rather than taking the side of our children. It was all controlled by the organization, because I didn't feel right doing it, but I did it because I thought I should.
No. And I told my children, I says, I wish you had a different father. It's not that I didn't want to be their father. I mean, I love them. From when I was 5, I wanted a family. And it meant and means everything to me that we do. And it tears me apart that I found myself in a position that I did not want to be in. And at that point, I truly did not know how to extract myself. And if we ever get back together with our family, I need, number one, to be forgiven, and need to do a lot of listening to them. And frankly, I believe we will all need to do that listening and forgiving, every one of us. I truly believe that. We became something none of us decided to be. We didn't decide it. We took it on. Why? Because obeying brings blessings. So they said. Unfortunately, what it brought was loss. It brought loss. I became someone I hated being, and ended up losing. We lost our family. So something like that, who's to blame? To point fingers at this point doesn't make sense. But
It doesn't help.
No, but it truly helps to determine what forces we have to avoid and what things we have to work at now to make up, and the sort of persons that we need to be. Otherwise, they won. Otherwise, that Watchtower Society won in stealing everything from us. Our goodness, parents' goodness, fathers' goodness, children's goodness. They stole goodness from us. And it's something we desire to continue to express and to have, no matter how difficult it's going to be. And it may, it will require deep understanding, more understanding than we probably ever wanted to have to give. Deep understanding.
Mhm.
And that means learning things that we never realized we need to learn. And then deep forgiveness for ourselves and others. When those things were happening in the past, I knew we would all have to undergo very deep learning. I hope that's what we're doing now. I truly do. I think we are. I sense that with everyone here. And I'm going to just finish off by saying we're all light. Everyone here is light. We possess light. We look for light. We bear it. We show it. But on the other hand, and this is unfortunately true, we're darkness. We are darkness. Every one of us. We possess darkness. In some places they call it our shadow person. You know, it's the person that you don't want anybody to see. You don't want to know it. You don't even want to show it. You don't even know you possess it, but you know you possess it. I know I possess it. Everyone possesses that shadow. And sometimes we cannot prevent that shadow. And that's the point when we ask ourselves, what do we do now? You know, how do I see that other person now? How do they see me? What do we do? How do we go forward? And I'm going to just finish saying now, the most valuable things that I view from the Bible, and this is about the only thing that I value from the Bible, and I really mean this, are principles. The principles that were laid out in the Bible for our conducting ourselves. And Jesus put voiced those principles. Those principles work. They're powerful. They're challenging, but they allow us to go forward, despite the fact that we're both darkness and light. We're both. Otherwise, we split company with each other. We make connections with each other and then we break them because of that darkness. Jesus showed us a better way. He showed us the best way, actually. And I think we need to consider those principles a lot. I really do. And I hear them with what you were talking about too, Jen. Yeah. Fran wondered what did you wonder?
I just wanted to check with Joe first, make sure we're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
So something came up during the week, and we don't want to keep everyone in the dark or seem obtuse. There were some folks that were triggered by some of the videos that we had shown of Archaic's Jason. And we truly...
Maybe others too.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, and we truly appreciate those that came forward and let us know, because we're not here to trigger anyone or to put anyone in a bad spot. And it had to do specifically with CSA. And that's why we invited Jen on, And Jen is willing to give a little bit of her background. I said, whatever you're comfortable with. But so Jen, were you born into the organization?
Yeah, my parents came in the truth when I was about a year old. Somebody knocking on the door, and my parents were baptized. My mom was baptized when I was about 2. And then as soon as my dad was done with the military, he was baptized. So I was in it. I wasn't really strong. We lived kind of far away from the Kingdom Halls. We only made 1 or 2 meetings a week. So we weren't like super strong in the congregation. But when baptism came up, that I felt connected to the congregation, like it was a way I could connect. So I got baptized to be part of that about, I think it was about 13. So,
Jen, did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have 1 brother, and he's still in the organization. He's an elder right now. He has 3 kids, and they're all on track to Bethel, and they're good teamies. So, and then both my parents are still in, so they have a lot of faith. So, but my parents talk to me. My brother doesn't have anything to do with me because I don't believe that the governing body is inspired by Jehovah. And my parents still talk to me, but it's a strained relationship. It's not like with my in-laws. So when I was right after I had got baptized, I guess it was right before I got baptized, I was being sexually abused by a brother, and I thought baptism was going to help because Satan was really working on our family, and if we were closer to Jehovah, he would protect us.
So this happened when you were 13 or just before you were 13?
Yeah, it was 12 to 15 is when
Okay.
I was abused. So,
Wow.
and I told the elders, and when I told the elders, I was just brand new baptized. I didn't just tell the elders, okay, I went to my teachers and I told my teachers, and then
Wow.
the world was brought in. So the police were involved, and we had to get lawyers, and CPS was involved. And that upset the elders. They said that I brought reproach on Jehovah's name because
Brother.
You did the right thing.
I brought the world in on it. So I was publicly reproved for slander and gossip. They said, even if it's true, the brother admitted to it. So it wasn't like I had to deny anything, or it's not like I had to fight anything. But even if it's true, talking about it brought ruin to this brother's reputation. So the only person that would have anything to do with me, I lost my friends, was one 24-year-old brother, and he would go out in service with me. And we ended up having sex before marriage. And it was really easy to convince me because Mary, if you think about it, nobody knew that she could have had sex before marriage and it was going to be okay, even though it was with God. And so it was really easy to convince me. Then I was disfellowshipped. So I spent a year, I was 15, married and disfellowshipped. So I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any
So
support. The only person in my life was my new husband. So
there was quite an age difference. You were 15 and he was 24.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And he had a college degree too, because he had just came into the organization. He was just baptized like 2 years prior. So he was a worldly man initially and came into the truth. That was really appealing to me too, because I mean, here was this smart person that had was part of the world, and he came in, so it had to have been the true organization.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't even think about it as being a place to get women that are easy to control. So,
So do you
um,
think that, go ahead, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead. I
Well, I was
don't
gonna
have.
just, well, knowing that he was 24 and just coming in, do you think that they groom men in that direction? Do you,
I
know,
do. So initially, like at first, I was thinking that it was a special situation, but I really felt like there was pressure, and even like to get engaged, because there were other people pursuing me as soon as I turned like, well, as soon as I got baptized, that's what it was, is I became available, I guess. So there were a lot of older men pursuing in that way. So what was your question? I got distracted.
No, that's okay. Well, with the grooming, how they groomed the men so that they would pursue either someone younger or to have sex
Definitely.
before marriage, or
He used to tease that I was trainable, and the younger women they're more willing to listen and do what these older men want.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and there's not like a whole pool to choose from. So just the fact that a brother has any interest in you, that's like really appealing, because you're not going to be single for the rest of your life.
wow.
So,
You
I don't know.
Jen, I have to say, when we first came in and listening to some of the older ones who were in from a long time ago, they were speaking how it was a place where the men viewed the sisters as their ones to marry, as young as they wanted. In other words, they came in knowing that we can get married here. We can get who we want. They'll be young, and we'll be set. And the consideration didn't favor the woman.
Yeah.
It did not favor the woman at all. It used the woman for a position, for marriage. It was very dominating. And,
Yes.
that's just doesn't take the needs of a
And
person into consideration at all.
for me, growing up, I didn't feel like I had a lot of value anyway because I was female. So, like,
Yeah,
the most important thing
reality,
was
your only value would be is if you agreed to marry someone in that organization.
yeah. So I'm very happy I'm out of it. Very, very glad to be gone.
And we
So-
are too, Jen.
Yes, we are too.
And your bravery
Mhm.
and your intelligence to approach it the way you did. You told, you shared it. That's so good.
It wasn't easy. It was like a
No.
long path.
No.
And
Not easy.
you have highs and lows too. A couple of years ago is kind of when I realized that they did the brainwashing. Understanding that, I don't know. I was upside down about 2 years ago. It was pretty intense. But now I kind of find it fascinating to see all their connections and all the little breadcrumbs they leave, like their connections being Nazis, and I don't know. I find it kind of fascinating now.
Jen, would you
Huh?
would you share like the conflict that you felt you were under, considering who did this to you and what they meant to you and what you wanted to be left with? I don't mean to be obtuse, but the person that abused you.
How do I feel about them?
Well, yeah. How did you want to? What did you want to be left with afterward? How did you want the future to be for you and them?
So I had two different men, and one of them was very apologetic, very humble, very ashamed, didn't understand why he did the things that he did.
Yeah.
The other one was very arrogant and felt like, or had expressed that he saved me, that he was some kind of gift. So my feelings for them are two completely different things.
Understandable.
So,
understand.
for one, I think, how do you make amends for something that you regret? Even if they would have taken a life or something, how do you make amends if it's not something you want to keep it there? How do they keep going?
Yeah.
And that person isn't all bad. Like, there was a lot of good in that relationship, a lot of good in that person.
Yeah.
And so that it would be really sad to write away all of their good for that period of time.
Yeah.
And that period of time, yes, I know that that person is responsible for it, but that person knew that they had a problem, and they were going to the elders. They were going to the magazines. They stopped music. They stopped listening, watching movies. Everything that they were taking in was from the organization. When now I go back as an adult and I read the stuff from the organization, like the Watchtower of 73, when it gives detail of what not to do, where it's giving these word pictures, as the Watchtower describes it.
Yeah.
And they put these visions of parents molesting children with great detail. Why would you do that? It's intentional. So yes, these people had a choice, but also these people were only fed one thought, one idea all of this time, and it becomes confusing. And if you are taking poison to fix your sickness, how do you expect to get better?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that there needs to be some understanding, because they're victims too. And I hate saying that because it takes away, but it also does it because there is a reason why there's so many Jehovah's Witnesses that are victims, why we set ourselves up for victims, because why on earth would a 15-year-old think it was okay to be marrying a 24-year-old? I was ready to be that victim. Also, that 24-year-old brother, he was ready to pounce, but it was because, you got to do that for your sisters. I don't know. It's the system. We were created to do this. This is our education, and it needs to change.
And you described and what we went through as well, because we were in that organization for 36 years, and we know their publications and we know their way. The word is insidious, and basically it's working evil secretly, which is exactly what they were doing in an inverted way. Personally, I always wondered, why are they talking so much about behaviors that we need to avoid? They should be talking about faith strengthening types of behaviors and thinking that strengthen us. They didn't do that. They did not do that.
No. And they're sneaky about it too.
Oh, they primed people. They basically promoted it in the backward, sneaky way, and they knew what they were doing. They knew it.
Even if this January or this February broadcasting, it's got its normal rhythms and stuff, and then Jeffrey Jackson starts talking right after kind of a slow musical skit, and he goes into very vivid details. There's no images, there's no scriptures popping up. He's just reading mundane tone voice, and he's telling you what not to do. So when you're in that trance-like state, that's exactly when he's going into detail of all the things not to do.
That's so true.
Jenna, can I ask you, did you go to therapy anytime during that time or afterwards?
I did. So I had tried to kill myself, and that was 3 months of inpatient, in and out, outpatient therapy. That there we covered like the abuse, but I was still very protective of the organization, and I didn't understand. It was still very much the people that were involved in it. It wasn't why it happened or how it happened. So after, well, it was really whenever I started seeing the images in the broadcasting, whenever I started seeing pictures that were not my own, I reached out to Justin from ExJW Diaries, and we deconstructed, and that was a lot of help. And Vern too, we did a little bit of the deconstruction workshop there with the workbook. And I think just going through what they did helps a lot, or how they did it, how they did the programming, because then I was able to unprogram myself in ways too.
You know, Jen, we've known you now for about 3 years. We met you first at the 2023 Be Free in Washington, D.C. We talked with you then, and you were at the 2024. And from the time that we've known you, you have grown so much. And we were with you during that period when you were seeing those images, and you were calling us and talking to us, and you were very frantic and frightened. And now you have such a calmness, and you can tell that you've been dealing with it. And I think that's the biggest thing with anybody going through any trauma is, how do we get past it? How do we deal with it? And just, we don't want to ignore you, Lisa. Dinah Lost is on. She's had.
Hi, Dinah.
Oh, I'm here, but I'm just, holding it together over there. You and me, Jen, need to sit in front of that fireplace for about 48 hours.
Do you remember me from Washington?
I sure do. I immediately recognized your voice, and I was like, oh my God. I had drama going on in my life always, but I was like, I want to hear what she says. I was like, I miss her. I hadn't talked to her in forever.
It's good to see you.
So I just want to commend you, because I know how hard it is to talk about, because I hear it in your voice, and I'm like, immediately I just know you understand, because I say a lot of times that I'm like a skittish cat. So when I talk about, my past, it's like a automatic response that, I start to shake. Like,
Your body remembers.
Yeah. So it's a lot of involuntary things that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And it's hard with some of the stuff, because I was not going to the Kingdom Hall before they did the broadcast. So when I woke up after, my mom did something hateful, and I was like, why is she so hateful if she's in such a loving organization? And, I went back and looked, and I started seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, we're not going to apologize for not getting it exactly right. Like, that one hit hard.
Yeah, that was gross.
But, every day is a better day, because it's a day further away from all the pain. And I heal a lot through my poetry and stuff. But it's just like, even the memories that I suppressed, because it was just like one thing after another. And I was like, oh, well, at least it's not getting molested. So it was just kind of like a lot of bad things happened. But it was, oh, well, at least it's not as bad as that. And I got through that, and, I can get past this too. So I get a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just say something to Lisa? Lisa, you just recently shared something with us. You don't have to share it if you don't want to, but you're going to be taking a vacation, a family vacation, and then you're going to take some time. And this is part of your healing. You don't have to mention it if you don't want to, but I think it's kind of important.
No, because I moved from where my darkest life, well, part of my darkest life happened, I didn't really go back. I went back, for a funeral, and it was a Kingdom Hall funeral. So it was a little bit much because I was already not going to the Kingdom Hall. So I hadn't literally been in a lot of these environments that the trauma happened. So putting physical visual memory with, they say that helps. So I'm going to take a day and drive through all my old homes and where things happened and the 3 congregations that I went to.
Wow.
And the last
Great.
congregation that I'm going to should have a meeting that night. So I will be going in to the building, which is going to be a big deal, but I'm okay, and I feel like I'm going to be strong enough to do it because it's my right.
You're like a buffalo going into the storm head on.
Yeah, better believe it.
Yeah, well, are you going to have support?
No, not at the time, but I think I'll be all right. I think I have proven to be my strongest support system my whole life. I just didn't give myself credit for it.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to realize how strong I can be and how strong I am. And I love myself. I'm starting to love myself, which is crazy. Like I cry.
No, it's great.
Out, like what
maybe
I actually am beautiful, and I can say that and see that in the mirror. It's a big deal, and I know a lot of people.
It's beautiful, Lisa. Thank you.
We met you in person too, Lisa, a couple times. And I know when you first came out with your videos, your very first video, you said you could never even look at yourself in the mirror because there was so much shame there. And I think that's one of the things when a person is abused or bullied or anything, that there's so much shame.
It's hard to remove the shame. It's really hard to remove the shame.
I know.
But what has to be mentioned here, when someone's attacked, an enemy, the enemy comes and attacks them. Well, they weren't prepared for this. They didn't know. Now they're left with something. Now they're responsible for something. They're responsible for fending it off, or they're responsible for healing from the damage. Well, they didn't want to do it, but this responsibility now is laid upon them, which they never, ever, ever planned on taking on. And that's what I see it takes place with anyone who in some way was offended, abused, hurt, sinned against. It's an offense that leaves us with a responsibility. Now I'm responsible to deal with this thing. And I don't know what to do. Or maybe I know what I want to do, and maybe it's not good. One way or the other could be very bad. This is what so many of us, anyone that comes out of that organization, are faced with. They're faced with a tremendous responsibility to deal with things that we never planned on dealing with. Never. And now we are, and now you are, and you have, and you're still doing it. We are, Fran and I. The rest of the friends here are. And again, I'll go back. There's principles. There's in the Bible, Jesus' principles that are powerful. And I think when I see them practiced, I see how powerful they are and the effects that they have.
I think one of the principles we were talking about, and it's interesting in the book of John, the first 12 verses. If you go to the Witness Bible, they left them out. They left out chapter 8, verses 1 through 12. They left those verses out. We have a King James, and the King James has it in there. why do you suppose the witnesses left those verses out? I never understood
You want to
that as a
relate it?
witness.
Why don't you relate what it was?
It was Jesus. There was a woman who was an adulteress.
Adulteress, yeah.
She was an adulteress, and she went to Jesus.
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't go. Excuse me. She was
Cast
about
the
to be
first stone.
stoned, right? She's about to be stoned.
But the Pharisees came over and asked Jesus, said, what do you think, Jesus?
Right.
What should we do?
Yeah.
This woman, blah, 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 and she should be stoned.
Yep.
What do you think, Jesus? And he mutters a little bit. He's not talking with them. And he eventually rises up and says, let him without sin cast the first stone.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that in our Bible.
Mm-hmm. Why do you suppose
We did not have that.
they didn't
in
put
our
that
Bible.
in?
I grew up with that as a Catholic.
They're all sinners and they know it.
They're all
And
Pharisees.
it doesn't support their disfellowshipping event
No.
or
No,
decision.
it
No.
doesn't. And
No.
and they're all judges, all of them.
See,
Judges.
it's an attitude of judgment rather than forgiveness.
Well, it's
Yeah.
crazy is one of the things that, I kind of remembered when Jen was talking is that my mom said that my grandfather was getting he was getting a worse punishment than going to jail because it was his eternal life. And here I'm thinking, I guess maybe they told me, but I just blocked it out because he was just disfellowshipped in my mind. But
Mhm.
he was reinstated 2 years later. So
Yeah.
there was
They do that.
the thunderous applause for this man.
Wow.
I'm second. And we just keep going and say, oh, well, that's just a few bad apples. I'm sorry, we can't use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad apples.
That's right.
See, there's a balance that exists among humans that at least is satisfying as best as we can in cases of this. For example, if there was some kind of sin, well, there's laws. If someone breaks the law, they do something against you.
Mhm.
Well, there's laws about that.
Right.
Well, and hopefully the law gets followed. In other words, the person goes to jail
Yeah.
or whatever. Heck, if they do the worst sort of thing, they could lose their life.
Mhm.
There's laws. And then at that point, they serve their time. Now what? In other words, where does it leave the victim? Where does it leave the victim? What do they do to relieve themselves of that load?
Well, you definitely don't talk about it, because if you talk about it, you get kicked out.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
You could
So they silence you, and then they blame the victim. The victim gets blamed, and you can't talk about it.
Yeah. See, forgiveness is powerful stuff. It's probably more powerful for us as individuals than it is for the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't forgive, we're carrying a burden which we really don't need to carry. We don't need to carry it. But
it also affects other people around you if you have a hard time. And for me, like, I have a very, very hard time forgiving my ex-husband, but it hurts my daughters, even though they're in their 20s. It's still, they want to have their family get-togethers, birthdays, and me being able to or unable to be in the same room with him affects them. So I don't know. Forgiveness is important.
I mean, there's something that goes along with forgiveness. I mean, there may be forgiveness, but you may never want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In other words, you may want to put a big fence up and post a guard and always be watchful.
Yeah.
Well, forgiveness,
rather than just forgetting.
Forgiveness doesn't require me to allow you accommodations in my life. I can forgive you, and you can go about your way, and I can go about mine. Like, I have to,
You know, there's a simple principle. I always heard it when I was growing up by the older people. They would end up by certain things by saying, well, live and let live. Because in the end, that's what every single one of us is faced with that same situation. Mm-hmm. Who am I to prevent someone else from living any more than I would want them to prevent me from living? It's a challenge. It's challenging. It's not.
Can I just read what Wild Wall said here? Wild Wall in the comments said, "That is so awesome, Dinah. Sometimes we have to face our fears or so-called demons to get the healing we need or after. It can be hard, but can be done. Proud of you, lady." So, yeah, we are very proud of both of you, Jen and Lisa.
See, you're inspirational. And that's what we all need from each other. We need that inspiration.
Well, it's very important that people hear that stories are real, because like I was in the darkness for a very long time because I felt I deserved to be like, so I didn't belong in the world and I didn't belong with Jehovah's Witnesses. So, you know, but when I started hearing someone's story, that's when I went looking for answers, and I heard someone else had that similar story that was absolutely horrible, and I cried through it, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And then it was just like one thing after another, and you know, I saw Candace Conti and all that, and I was just like, I wasn't even going to the meetings when Candace Conti's case was happening. I was like, I feel like I should have been able to support. And I went through a lot of roller coaster about, you know, guilt of just not trying to do research. But, you know, I came to an understanding, and I said, I did what I had to do to survive. I was in fight or flight for so long that it was just a reaction to me just trying to survive.
You were also programmed, so you were doing what you were taught to do. Yeah. And not research.
I was taught to self-isolate. Yeah. And
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Learning that you were manipulated to be in a dark place when you didn't have to be. It was just that was really hard to get through for sure. But hurdles every day are getting crossed, and I feel good about it. Like I might cry through this and it sounds shaky, but I am actually in a really good place.
I'm gonna throw something in now, and just as a thought, but no answers are needed. But you're describing a situation. I've gone through situations. Everyone does in some way, where if I only knew better, I could have avoided it. Mm-hmm. Every one of us, in one way or another, if we knew better, young or old, but we would have needed to know better, but we didn't. Yeah. And you think about this. In the story in Genesis, the fact that Adam was restricted from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I'll be honest with you. I could have used it. I would have preferred the knowledge of good and evil. I would have made much better decisions had I had it. So I kind of question why we would ever want to put ourselves in a situation of restricted knowledge. Everyone gets hurt because of restricted knowledge. And I think what people are doing now, you're trying to catch up. We're trying to catch up on knowledge. And I hope we help each other.
Yeah. Can we say hello to a pasta dude?
Hi.
How you doing? I'm almost feeling like I'm intruding on a higher level of conversation because
you're one of the
no, really.
Come in.
Jen and Lisa, you guys are really drilling down to a lot of important information. So Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm trying to overcome. I had to take my 19-year-old Chihuahua in today, and she no longer is alive. So that's a
So
struggle.
sorry. You
19,
lost
oh
it
my
too.
God, 19
Yeah,
years.
and I mean, it's amazing how much I
Wow.
felt for the little critter. She
I
had
can't imagine.
cancer.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I just it confused me, but I'm very touchy with unaliveness. I really
Yes.
struggle because I got a lot of unresolved stuff, which
Yeah.
the two ladies are bringing to our attention, and that's good. But that thing about darkness, Joe, you were bringing up is the linchpin of darkness is that we are mortal. I mean, that is something that always hangs over you, and so when you lose a little critter like that, and it's so she was the most precious. We rescued her. She was we had her for 9 years of her 19 years, and she was kind of abused. She was left in a thing. And we just happened to be, the timing was good because somebody would have taken this little lapdog. She was so sweet. And just a
What was her name?
Daisy.
Daisy.
Her name was
Daisy?
Daisy. Yeah, it's a little white Chihuahua. I'll send you guys a picture.
Oh,
She was
yes,
so,
please.
so sweet. But anyway, so I'm dealing with this. Even the animals have to go. And every time, there is an element of anger about our circumstance. I mean, we are equipped to grasp the big consequence of death. And there's all kinds of wild notions about moving on beyond our mortal coil. And in the end, all the authorities who provide that information, i.e., the Bible, the Quran, or whatever, you can't respect them. I mean, you got to, and then they've messed with these documents, and it's like you guys get into archaics, and they're hiding so much stuff. It is kind of, troubling, to say the least. So anyway, a dog's death isn't the biggest thing, of course, but anybody that has a dog, that your dog's death matters, and so.
Yeah, but
I'm having a bad
they
day.
become a part of you. So it
Oh yeah.
it is a real
I
loss.
mean,
just
he was the object of your love.
Oh
And
yeah.
it'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
She.
Yeah, she was sweet, sweet, sweet. So we're dealing with that, and it's interesting, the depth of feelings I had. I mean, we knew there was a problem, and then the doctor gave us it was just the right decision. There's nothing up, there was no upside. So anyway, that's part of the deal. But anyway, this stuff that happens in the organization, I'm gonna touch on something that I can't pull the whole wheel on this story, but it's tough to, I mean, it's like one of those stories, if you give parts of it, you go, oh my goodness. And I will just say at the outset, the biggest problem I have with this following information is my part in it. So imagine in the 80s, in the late 80s, they came out with an article that explained that taking action against an unbaptized publisher, i.e., many teenagers, in this case, my stepdaughter, is inappropriate. 4 months after they told us to shun her. The story about how she ended up getting shunned is very tragic. And the rest of her life story is very tragic. I mean, if I showed you a picture, you'd say, well, she could be a model. And she could. She was like 5'10" and a half at least, and blonde and beautiful girl. But in any case, we had 4 months of shunning and confusion thereafter, and left her confused, and she left the home, and then I'll just give you the subtext. Drugs are a very difficult thing, and why? If you look at drug addiction, drug behavior, drug participation, usually people have pain they have pain when they do that. And this girl had every reason to have pain. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I told you more about that, Joe, but we're going to keep it confined here. So, but
Right.
any case, and it's the organization just so sloppy, and the local guys just assuming policy behaviors that weren't even, they had to have somebody come. It was a Watchtower study. I got to go get I've got the whole library still, so I can get the dates on that. But they had to straighten all those things out, and they keep changing and flipping and flopping, and everybody's lives are being ravaged by these idiots to this minute.
It leaves us in a position of responsibility, massive responsibility, responsible for dealing with their carelessness, their lovelessness.
Well, when you have that kind of experience, Joe, and about 10 other ones similar to it before you wake up, and then you wake up,
Yeah.
here's a responsibility. I trusted you, and I find out it's you, not Christ. It has nothing to do with God, nothing to do. It's you guys. So when I pull my trust back after all of that, please don't even imagine that you can ask for it. Just don't even imagine it. And so, here's another piece of news for you, Joe.
Yeah.
My son that lives with me, was appointed as an MS last night. So things could start getting interesting.
Wow.
And he, I know a few things that might have disqualified him. He's a good kid. He's trying, and he's a recovered drug guy. And imagine how I feel about him being drug free when I saw what drugs can do.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to go to that. I don't go to no meetings. I ain't going to do any of that anymore. And I just stay quiet with him for him to, and he's talking about all these disturbing things that are going on at the Kingdom Hall all the time. Really? And I don't jump on it. I just sit there and go, well, it's not going to stop.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So now,
well,
yeah.
That's the dude. I dare say the only one that he's seen love from is you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh boy, I'm telling you.
And not them.
I was on the phone with Johnny a little while ago, and I was telling him, like the thing about being a thoroughly faded, you can't even call me a PIMO, really, but they still have me on their books because I haven't, dropped the disassociation. But here's the thing. I look at it like infiltrating. The mission is to infiltrate the cartel to do damage to, and I'm not even an activist other than my anonymous input that I provide on different forums. But you mess with the cartel, you're not going to be able to help them. That you can't get found, you can't get got. That can't happen. So that's part of the mission. That's and I really say this with no mincing, no mitigation, nothing. They are a religious mafia.
Oh, it's you can't overstate that. You can't overstate it.
Yeah, I'm not pulling back on. As mentioned, and the people that are in it, they're just like the little shopkeepers that paid the protection money.
It's government subsidized mafia, the religious mafia. That's all it is. It really is. It really is.
And so these Lisa and Jen, I mean, that you're just so on target. You're right there with this so unhealthy.
It's crazy because when I was a pioneer, one of the friend that I had that I pioneered with, she was 30 minutes away. So I would go visit her. So it was kind of like a friend I knew through her, but she was disfellowshipped and she tried to unalive herself. And it was like, at that time, I had already attempted twice. And the only thing I could think of for her was, I know how much pain it takes to get to that point, and I felt bad that she didn't succeed, because I remember what it was like waking up and still being there. And it was just like, all of this was going on, and you're thinking it's just you, and it's just this dark place that you just have to hide, and you just have to go in the Kingdom Hall and put a smile on your face so you don't stumble anyone.
So
And it
true.
was just crazy.
Well, Winston from Watchtower Examination, he does a lot of stuff. He showed that Erica video that they put also in the Norway. And what's interesting regarding what you just said was he patches in these little clips where Garrett Loesch says how much of a dishonest lie it is to withhold information from those to whom it is owed. And when you are living your life in obedience to people claiming to be the vicars of Christ, how much do they? And then they tell you they're imperfect and they're not going to apologize. I mean, it's mind-boggling when you start seeing it clearly. It's just amazing because, like you said,
For
you
not
felt
getting
bad.
it exactly right. I'm the product of them not getting it exactly right, and they're not going to apologize for
You're
the
a bad
nightmare my life was. I just don't understand that.
And when you woke up, you now have the complication of the attempt you made, which is not making your life any easier.
Oh yeah.
I
mean,
it just so
that
I'm
darkness,
glad.
like, it was unimaginable the times that I was a heavy drinker. After I lost, after I was sexually assaulted by 10 guys or whatever, that's when I decided not to go to the Kingdom Hall. Okay. So that's where I get my name Dinah Lost, is because throughout these years of me not going to the Kingdom Hall, and it was, it's my fault, and I just need to come back to Jehovah, and Jehovah will forgive me, and I won't get disfellowshipped, and da-da-da-da-da, and you just think that you're going to get disfellowshipped, and you're not, and I'm like, no, that's not it. Like I've tried to end my life too many times, and all because, I'm trying to fight to be something that just doesn't feel right and never has. And I constantly just said, it's just me. It's just me. And then when my last suicide attempt, my daughter was alive, and she walked out on me. So she kind of saw a glimpse of it. Of course, she was grabbed very quickly, but that was my huge turnaround, because my daughter was everything to me. And just the thought of how much my life affected me because of how my parents treated me and how I was treated as a kid, it just hit me really hard, because I was like, I can't do this to somebody else. The cycle has got to stop with me.
Yeah.
I can't hurt anymore, because if I hurt, then that hurts somebody else. So I have to heal. And she was my inspiration. Yeah. And it was the most beautiful inspiration in the world. Something I hope everybody gets a chance to feel love the way I did.
That's beautiful.
You've got 2 beautiful daughters.
I do. I really do.
They're so happy.
And I keep them all to myself. I try to hide them because they're so cute and beautiful. They're my stars.
Well, I'm glad you made it through, and hey, they're there with you or close, and that's great. And
but it's just,
I
a real
actually
problem,
went to.
because I know that it wasn't just me, and I know that there's people out there suffering, and that's why we have to talk about this, and that's why we have to bring light to it, because it's not bold-faced lies.
No.
No, it isn't.
No.
My life
I-
did happen.
No, the lying was what Garrett Lowe says when he actually acts like he's not withholding anything. Come on, man. They know all the numbers. They know the transfusions and the suicides. They know. There's no way. Everything in the Kingdom Hall is meticulously recorded. You know, when they did time, I mean, how much more intrusive can you be?
If I
So,
could get a hold of my publisher card, that would be a smoking gun.
yeah.
I just want to let everyone know that Jen had to leave because her phone kept shutting down. She said, yeah, and okay, and she's going to get in touch with you, Lisa.
Okay.
And, yeah, we
Yay.
told her we really appreciated her coming on.
You know, I've got to say, if listening to everyone and their stories, their lives, what the things that I've been through at times, things that I didn't think I'd make it another day. I asked myself, and I told myself this: I don't know how I'm going to get through another day of this. I don't know how. I don't know how. In other words, I couldn't see living with it. All I knew is I needed to find out. And my thought always was, if I keep looking, and if I keep listening, and if I open myself up to others, I'll find out. And I truly believe that. I really believe that. The answer is in each other.
Yeah.
And Dinah, in your case, the answer was in your children. Yeah. You know, it's there. The answers are there. We need to.
Well,
Joe,
they taught me a positive lesson, and it's more than people talk about how you got to look at the positive and whatnot. It's, if you're a positive person and you think positively, you can attract things that are positive, but you can also attract negative that looks for positive. So it's like knowing the difference is what I'm working on now, because I have noticed the more I look into something as, you know, in a positive way, things come out better. But it does also attract people that try to take advantage of you, and that's just something we have to be cautious of. And it's a hard thing to teach when you were told everybody in this bubble is safe, even though they don't seem safe and they don't feel safe. They're considered safe because we say they are. Yeah. So getting out of that mentality and realizing that you have to train your mind to know the difference. It's
so Dinah, it was you that said you're going to go to the Kingdom Hall when you go through your old homes and stuff.
Yes, I am.
You said that.
Yes.
I mean, here my little puppy died, but you know, when Caesar Milan takes troubled dogs,
Oh yeah, I know.
He does not. Most owners will say avoid what makes the dog upset. Yeah. He says no. You got to go right there. You got to get right to it and recalibrate. So, you know, you're on, I say you're on the right track. Don't be afraid. Just do what you can do.
And I'm going to support that with the statement that our triggers indicate what we need to grow, where we need to
face your fear.
So if anyone has a trigger, that's telling us something. I've got triggers. Everyone's got triggers. They're telling you something. It's your personal indication of what you need to approach.
We heard a quote that said, triggers are invitations for healing. So there are invitations for healing. So if we know that something's triggering us, that's the thing that we have to, attack.
Exactly.
And we got Fallen Ashes here too.
Hello, Ashes.
Hi. Hey guys. Hey Lisa, I love you.
I love you too.
We were all in Washington together, Fallen and Lisa and Jen. It was a really nice meetup.
Yeah, and Ash has got the best song. I still love that song. Undone.
It's PNW night. Me too.
Thank you.
Pacific Northwest.
Who's Pacific Northwest? Who else? Who else is Pacific Northwest of us, dude?
Who else? I thought I heard Jen. I mean, Jen and Lisa.
Jen is more in the middle part of the country. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in PA.
Yeah.
We speak very highly about the Pacific Northwest of us, dude.
Yeah, well, you know, somebody, Jen was hooking, or no, I don't, wrong term. She connected with Justin, and he's up in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That guy does great videos too, by the way.
Yeah, he does. He does. I was just going to mention, well, you know, that we didn't really talk about the theme. It's keep living your life with blank.
Love.
Now, we always know what Vern says. Vern says keep living your life with what?
Yeah.
Love.
Love. Right. Okay, so those are Vern's words.
There's a lot of alternatives.
What are the alternatives?
There are many alternatives.
Hi, Gail.
I like glows and grows. That's what I've been going with recently, because every day I try to focus on the glows of life, like things, good things that happen, things that make you smile, and then the grows, the things that you struggle through, and the things that you build on.
The growth and the what was the first one?
Glows and grows.
Glow, GLOW.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're a little bit soft. Hard to hear you a little bit.
Oh.
Keep living your life with purpose.
See, the cautionary part of that answer is there's so many other things we could be living our life with.
Exactly.
Like fear, hatred, confusion, jealousy, and so many more things. So many more. So those things all have to be done. And there's more of those things than there is of love. So it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. And we're always going to have something that gets in the way of it. Always. Always going to be something that gets in the way of it.
So Gail, how would you finish that statement?
I don't know, but may I comment on the subject at hand that started off the program?
Yeah.
All right. As you know, I worked, well, not everybody knows this. I worked with adult men and women that were sexually abused. It wasn't an easy job. I worked with 14 adults, and some of them were severely abused. I had one multiple personality, believe it or not. But I just want to say that the guilt and shame that goes along with a survivor would really break my heart. And some of the things that a victim would do is sometimes they can become very promiscuous. Number two, they can turn to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain. Number three, they can inflict harm to themselves, like cutting and other forms of personal abuse. Anorexic. I had an anorexic that I saved her life, and she was severely sexually abused. And unfortunately, the last one, even some will convert, will try and commit suicide. But as far as forgiveness goes, what I was taught is that you don't have to forgive someone to heal. Forgiveness comes first with yourself, that you didn't ask for this, you didn't cause it, and you didn't deserve it, most importantly. So if you want to forgive somebody, that's a personal decision, and it doesn't have nothing to do with healing. And here's number two. If you're an adult and you're being abused by another adult, and if you don't have to forgive them, because what you're telling them is okay, you're giving them permission to continue. So there's another myth with that one. So what you need is you need a lot of support and loving people that aren't going to say, oh, gee, you got to forgive this person. No, you don't. And don't listen to that. You forgive at your own pace, and nobody should tell you differently, because everyone goes through a trauma differently. So I just wanted to speak that, because I worked with a lot of adults, and it was a very heartbreaking job I had to listen to every night and the horror stories that happened to them. And unfortunately, most of them were their family members or their own parents.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote a poem to my mom because she's talking about forgiveness. Do you guys want to hear what I wrote her?
Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah.
All right, I called it Forgiveness in Space. A harmful relationship, a painful past, a bond that's broken yet forever will last. I see your extreme pain, your emotions too, but constant intense hurt I can't get through. I forgive you, Mom, for all that's unfolded, though hard to understand the choices you molded. I know your heart loves me in your own way, never feeling love, just disgrace and dismay. I work hard daily for the cycle to break, for my children feeling love is what is at stake. Know you deserve absolute love, Mom, it's true. I need space for me, my kids, to have a chance too. If I die today, or my fear my children do, I want them to know we loved each other true. And Mom, I want you to know I see you too, your pain, your emotions, and all you've been through. You deserve love, Mom, and I hope you can find a way to heal and feel compassion and kind. Though we cannot be close, I now understand our bond is toxic and it's hard to withstand.
Wow, that was unbelievable. That was
Wow.
beautiful. You made me cry.
That is beautiful, Lisa.
I cried a little bit, maybe a lot when I was writing it, but I was just like,
I always love your poems.
I get what she's, I see what they have been blinded by, and I do see that they are victims also, but I can't let it keep affecting my life.
No,
Right,
you can't.
exactly. Well, see, that's the forgiveness. See, forgiveness means letting go of. You're letting go, because otherwise it'd be so overbearing. It would ruin our lives. The letting go of, how you choose to let go of, that's your business. That's individual. That is.
Lisa, have you published that poem anywhere? Because that's so beautiful.
I did not publish that one yet.
Yeah,
that would help. That would help others.
Make it available. Make it available.
That is beautiful.
I'll do that.
Lisa, I have to ask you, did you send it to your mother?
I did. And it's been very, she keeps trying to find different ways to just like wiggle her way into, what do you call it? Simple conversation, and then I just reiterate my boundaries and say, I'm not ready to reach out yet. And essentially I won't be as long as she's under control of the governing body. But,
right.
I'm not trying to alert her of that, because I'm not trying to make her more frazzled than, what she's already got to deal with. So
Right, exactly.
I just reiterate every time she reaches out, I can't, I'm working on me, and I apologize, and I just reiterate what I kind of already said in the poem. And I did a poem to try to do it in a lighter fashion, because I'm trying not to be a hurtful person to other people. And it's hard to do.
It's noble.
It is beautiful.
Thank you.
Very nice, Lisa. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am a couple poems behind. I have to post a song and 2 poems that I've already
Wow.
written.
Wow.
Well, you better make them available.
I
Yeah.
get crazy busy with these girls.
I know.
I lose myself in this motherhood.
Well, it's a good thing to get lost in.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
I just wanted to say hi to Eric.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, y'all. How's
Hey,
everyone doing?
Hi, Eric.
Good. How are you, Eric?
Thinking
Good.
of
Not
you.
too bad, thank you. I was going to say, we should keep living life our way, the way we want to live.
Authentic.
I think that's the biggest mistake that we've made as witnesses, like the sister had previously
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, having an older man telling her what to do, and just a watchtower telling us what to do. Always being told what to do. At the end of the day, if you believe in having to explain yourself to Christ or God, if you believe in that, then at the end of the day, it's between you and them anyways. So why live by someone else's standards that can mislead you? And like, for instance, Joe and Fran and myself and Desiree at one point were all being shunned by our family members, and they're in the wrong, and we know it. And they're going to be known. No, they're going to be known of what they did was wrong one day when they're exposed, and they have to live with that. They have to live. They can't blame men because they listen to men rather than God, or rather than a higher power, or than their own conscience, even if you will, if you're an atheist. Because that's more important at the end of the day, is to live life your way. To live an inauthentic life, or to live a life for even for somebody else in a relationship, it'll never work out. It'll always it'll always just bring hardships. But anyways, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Eric. Eric, I have
Thanks, Eric.
I think of my family and what they're going through. I also think of the elder who kind of shoehorned us into the organization. He shoehorned me. I didn't want to be there. I really didn't. I gave into it for different reasons. But the same elder that spoke behind my back to my children and warned them against me. When I went to him and shared with him our concerns, he immediately went to our children, and they started shunning from there. And I have to view him as a victim as well. I really do. I have to view him as a victim as much as I had intense hatred for him at the time.
Yeah, because I would view him as an enemy, so I give you credit for that, Joe.
Well, I think he's his own enemy at this point, and I have to view him as a victim of that organization. It's just that every one of us makes a course correction in our life. Yeah. Is he going to make a course correction? I don't know. It's up to him.
That's true.
It's up to
we
him.
We all have redemption, or at least that aspect of it, or that attempt to have it.
I have to leave that out for him as much as I hope someone leaves it, let my children leave it out for me.
And when we spoke to this person, he revealed to us, and I don't think he ever revealed it to us before, that his own father was an apostate, went apostate, because he always spoke so highly of his father. Because this man studied with Joe and I, and every time he brought up his family, he had nothing but good to say and praise about his father. When we told him about our concerns about the child sexual abuse, and he said, oh, it's a lie, you can't believe it, then he switched it to, well, we're working on it. And it's like, and then finally he came out and he said, yep, Joe, you sound just like an outright apostate. He said, my father became an apostate. Him and his brother would be his uncle. And he said the two of them spent the last days, just the two of them, because they were all alone. They didn't have the rest of the family. Their last days together, and he made it sound like they were so poor, pitiful. And I said, man, I wish we had met his father, because he was a strong person to do that after bringing up his family, such a righteous family, you know. So anyway, kind of comes around.
It
Eric,
does.
are you the guy that made that music video that Lisa showed me?
Nope.
No, that's
Okay.
compassionate. I forget his name. the on the Discord. Compassionate Apostate.
Yeah.
Is that his channel? Compassionate Apostate that did the song.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
I'm just a
I thought it
simple
was-
man trying to make my way through Earth.
All right.
Yeah, that theme about keep living your life with obviously love,
Joy.
you know, joy, happiness, and contentment, and looking forward, but rather than looking behind.
Live
There's so
your
much
life
to-
with life.
There you go. I like that.
Purpose.
Your life.
Purpose.
Your
I like
life.
purpose. Yeah.
See, here's the irony. People, we came to that organization expecting truth, and we ended up living lies. So at that point, and then that's what I was facing myself. I couldn't stand. I couldn't stand myself, what I was becoming, and what I had to be just to be there. I said, this is not me. This is not me. And I just realized I need to live truthfully. That is truth. To
Yeah.
live truthfully.
It seems like what really is the case is live your life free from control from others.
Yeah.
Live your
Yeah.
life with freedom. You know, I mean, it doesn't mean that you just be a murderer or do whatever the hell you want, but you know what I mean. Just live your
Right.
life with as long as you're not hurting anybody. Live your life though, without being controlled. I hate being controlled, and I think it's why I never fit into Watchtower. I think it's why elders were always like coming down on me on something. It was just always something. It was always something I was pissing them off with. And it's because I'm not the type of person that likes to be controlled. My parents obviously are. I'm not. I hate being controlled. My mother's very controlling. I don't appreciate it. I like, I don't know. I've always marched to the beat of my own drum.
Eric, they're looking for slaves.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
They groom slaves.
They groom them, yes.
They
But I opposed it.
slaves. We're not slaves.
Yep.
And the ones that are coming out are not slaves.
Yeah.
The ones that are staying in, unfortunately, somehow accept the role of slave at this point.
Unfortunately, some of us have freed ourselves from slavery, but enslaved ourselves to another cult, and that happens too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you still have to be careful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You need to understand the matrix.
Oh,
Education
yes,
is power.
Yes. Yep.
Tired
No,
of
well-
manipulation, fed up with frustration. I should go listen to my song. That's my song. That's my jam. I made my own jam, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did you post it yet?
That's on a
Another-
short. I think that's a short. It should be there.
That's cool.
Another word for the blank is live your life with intention.
There you
Nice,
go.
nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
I like it.
I like that a lot, actually. That's really wise.
That's very nice.
Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Hey guys, how's it
Oh, hey,
going?
Ruby.
Hey.
Hey, Ruby.
You got the nighttime voice on.
Oh Lord, here we
The
go.
quiet voice.
The kids
Yeah,
voice,
all right, kid's
your
voice. There you go. That's
Yeah,
the
'cause
quiet.
I'm finally calm. Joe.
Oh,
That's the effect of Joe and Fran as I calm down.
Oh.
Mickey Zen.
I was gonna tell you, Joe and Fran, keep living my life with me in mind,
oh yeah.
because I was living my life doing what everybody else wanted and
Absolutely.
doing whatever they said to do, how they said to dress, where they to go, what time I had to be back, where I couldn't go, where I could go. So many rules that it's shocking when they get upset or angry that you did something without their permission, or you thought something without them telling you you could think that or to have that opinion. So I live my life now with what I want to do, with thinking about myself. Because even though I woke up from the cult, I was still 22 years old with 3 children already. And it sucked because I couldn't even drink when I turned 21 because I was pregnant again. And I kept getting pregnant, and I felt like it was my fault because they shamed me into that. Like, why do you keep getting pregnant? Don't you know that the end of the world is coming? Like, can you stop?
I felt bad when I got pregnant. My first pregnancy, I felt like I did something wrong, and I was even married.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah,
It was terrible. We
that's
went.
insane.
There was an assembly that we went to where the talk was about responsible childbearing in the 80s.
Yeah, and we had 4 children.
And there were pregnant women there, and I'm telling you, they wish they could have crawled under a rock.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I remember that talk, Joe.
Yeah.
I remember that talk.
Yeah.
And believe me, we had 7.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah, so it was like every single time I got pregnant, it was a speech that I would get about protection or, like sensitive things, even though I was married and people want to insert their opinions or how you should do this or do that. And I got so like sick and tired of it that's really the reason why we moved away, to Florida, is to get away from all of that judgment and shame that they're trying to give you. Meanwhile, you're doing it the right way. I got married. I did this. I did everything you wanted me to do. You still shamed me. So I didn't respect myself even then by not, standing up to them back then. So that's why I feel like I'm so hardcore now, and I'm pushy or I'm loud or crazy. It's because I couldn't do that back then. I was quiet,
exactly.
and I was passive, and I just wanted to please them so that they can at least give me some smile, like some validation, some happiness. So I live with me in mind now, because all that time has passed that now it's all over. I can't cry about the same spilled milk all those years ago. That was 10 years ago. Like I'm 28 now. Am I still going to be crying about it when I'm 30? Like, no, I'm going to move on and create that new life for myself that I've spoken to you guys about all the time. I always come on here and I say, man, Joe, what you told me last Wednesday, I did it and I can't believe it. So, you gotta do it yourself. Before I go, I wanted to tell you guys a little story. A couple Sundays ago, we made a spontaneous trip back to my hometown in Bradenton, Florida. And I'm in Tampa, so that's about like a 40 something minute drive. And I said, you know what? It's Sunday. This is the only day that I'm going to get to go to my old Kingdom Hall and see who's inside. And I told my husband, let's go. He was like, no, I don't want to go. And I said, no, I have to get this over with. I need the closure. I need to walk in there like a boss and look people in the eye and walk right back out. And that felt like I wanted to throw up. So I went to my old hall. And I couldn't believe how different it looked. It looked darker. It looked smaller. It looked like so many strangers were in there. But it was a Spanish congregation, so I didn't really like say hi to anybody. I just zoomed right in there because I was scared that they were going to know who I am or something. It's like stupid fear. Like nobody knows me. Just walk in there.
That's
and
right.
I walked up in there, and the first person said, hola. And I was like, hello. And I kept walking. I ran inside that Kingdom Hall.
Oh my gosh.
And I started looking. I was making believe like I was doing something, like I was looking for something or literature so that they don't kick me out. So I grabbed the business card. I grabbed an awake, and I just kept walking. And I went into the auditorium, and I just stood there. and I looked at that B school, I looked at like it was like I could see my 17-year-old self again, walking through those same walls, those aisles and everything. And then I walked and I said, you know what? I cannot turn around and walk out the front door. Like I was even scared to go out the front. So I ran to the back door. And when I go to the back door, that's where the C school is, where I had my first judicial committee.
School. Oh my goodness.
Yep. And I stood right in front of that doorway and I was looking into that room. Like this was the room and the moment where everything went downhill for me at 16 years old. And I looked in that empty room and I'm like, I gotcha. Like I conquered this. And I walked out the back door and I ran to the car and I said, let's go, book it. Let's book it and get out of here. And he looked at me and he was like, how was it? And I was like, listen, I don't want to, let's just go. Let's go. Because we had Chinese food. We made a whole date out of it. And then I called Tony and I said, you're not going to believe what I just did. And she was like, no, why would you do that? You know, like it's going to be triggering or whatever. And I was like, no. You don't understand. I'm over it. I'm good now. And I speak out about it. So going in there was like I was conquering that ground that I felt like I could never walk there again. And I looked at those people like by and by, and I owned the space in those few seconds, and I got it over with. So I wanted to tell you guys that I conquered that.
That's amazing, Ruby.
That's inspiration.
Oh, that's beautiful, Ruby. Thank you so
Ruby,
much.
did anyone recognize you?
No, it was a completely like different Spanish congregation that I don't even remember those people. So it was brand new people, and I missed my congregation by a few minutes. So I couldn't believe it because I was like, let me take a picture of myself. So I took a picture of myself in front of the sign so that I have proof that I did this. And I said, you know what? Next Sunday, I will have less fear and less anxiety. And I will go like around 3 p.m. so I can catch my people. And when I catch my people, that's going to be another story. So stay tuned.
Oh, man.
Sure it is.
We can't wait.
That's amazing. Yeah, the congregation I'm going to, I have a lot of family. I have a lot of family, so the odds of me not meeting somebody that knows me is going to be very small. But
there is no way that I could ever go back to my old Kingdom Hall. I would like to, but it would be really bad.
I'm also
the energy of the room would be so horrible.
I'm gonna wear my
and I wouldn't care for myself so much, but for everyone else, like it would just be so bad. It would be. I would be putting myself in a situation where I think I would just. It would be like that movie where the guy says, "F you, F you, F you, you're cool. Screw all of you. I'm out of here."
I don't even know.
Yeah, but I do want to catch them intentionally. I do want to go back and see like my old childhood friends. I know they still go there because my mom went there 2 years ago, and she didn't bring me with her. And I told her I would go to the meeting with you if we go together. And she went by herself regardless. And I felt like she stabbed me in the back with that one. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go by myself next time. I'm going to see my old friends and I'm going to walk right up to them and say, hey guys, how's it going?
That's right.
I'm crazy like that, but it's a good crazy.
That's right. Good for you.
Well, I'm just wondering if anybody asked me what brings you down here. And I'm going to be like, I'm just revisiting where my pedophile was disfellowshipped and where I had to sit behind the other one that got let go free because he said he didn't do it. So I'm just waiting to, and it'll be recorded too because I'll have my smart glasses on. So maybe nobody will ask me, and then I won't say it. But I'm tempted to say that. I'm sure I'll be nice and just be like, oh, I'm just in the area. Sweet old Dinah.
When Joe and I disassociated, it was in January of 2023. And one of the friends that we were close to, and his wife was never a Jehovah's Witness, we went to the hall. We went to the Kingdom Hall for his memorial. And the reason why we went mostly her.
9.
Can you hear me okay? Are we still on? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, when we got there, Joe said, do you want to sit in the back? And I said, no, I want to go right up front. So anyway, we were
right up front.
At first we were in the hallway, and this one brother comes up to you, and he was from out of town, so he didn't know we were disassociated. So he goes, "Hey, Joe." No. He said, "Hey, Brother Garino, how are you doing?" And Joe talked to him just like normal, and probably one of the brothers later told them, "You shouldn't be talking to them; they're disassociated." But anyway, after you talk to him, and our daughter, I saw her because I was coming out of the bathroom, and she didn't see me, but she went right past Joe, and obviously didn't say anything.
That was hard on them.
But it was very hard on them. So Joe and I sat right up in front because we wanted to support Tina, the wife. And so we went up to her and we said, we're so sorry. And she goes, I'm so glad you came. And we go, well, we wanted to come because, we always loved you and Kearns, her husband. And we sat right up there in front. And when they would, the whole family, her family were not Jehovah's Witnesses. So there were about 3 rows of them that were not witnesses. So when everybody stood, they just sat there. And Joe and I sat there like we were part of their family, not Jehovah's Witnesses. We did not stand. We did not sing. We didn't, bow our head for the prayer. We were just there supporting her. And then when it was finished, we were on our way out, and we saw the worldly man that Kearns worked for. And we knew him well because we did some work. So we went right over to him and we were talking to him. And it was as if the other people weren't even there. They thought we were here for Tina. We were here for her family. We saw the fella that Kearns worked for. And those were the people that really meant something to us. And I felt good being there. How did you feel? Were you glad?
I'm glad we went for Kearns' wife.
Yeah.
I'm glad we went for that. But to be there,
no,
didn't like it at all.
No, hated it.
Most of the time I was ever there.
I know. But anyway, it is empowering.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be an experience because I can remember, the exact row I was sitting in when I had to sit behind my offender. And I just cried my eyes out for the whole meeting because my father asked me if it was okay if we went to his congregation. And apparently I said it was fine. And then when I just cried the whole meeting, he knew I wasn't fine. And that's what unraveled the whole situation is because my dad thought it would be okay for me to go to the same congregation as my offender. So it was a lot, but I can see it in my eyes. I see with images all the time. So it's just multiple therapists have told me it's going to be really hurtful, but really helpful at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know walking in there, everything is going to look so small and I'm going to feel so tall and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Good for you, Lisa.
Yeah. This is reminding me of when I left the day that my husband and I left that organization, my ex-husband, but at the time was my husband. And we showed up. It was on July 22nd, 2022. And it was a Wednesday night meeting. And we sat in the second row in the middle of the audience. And as the brother went up there to announce our names, saying that we're no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses, we were just sitting there and everybody was just quiet and stuff. And then we did the prayer, or we did the song, we did the prayer, and we just walked out. I had my nice dress on, the ones that they didn't like. It wasn't modest. It was a dress. It wasn't a modest dress. I went there to say goodbye. I went there to say goodbye because this was my second time getting disfellowship. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this ever again. I'm not going to be disfellowship a third time because this is like ridiculous. You know?
Did you wear an A on your dress or something?
No, I wore like this. It wasn't even bad. Like, it was just a pencil dress. So it showed my hips. It showed my, it showed my body. So it wasn't modest, It
Way to
wasn't like
go.
those.
Way to
It was a
go.
pencil
Way to go.
dress. And
High
I
five.
just walked out after they did prayer. They said, amen. I got up, grabbed my bag. Everybody was looking at me. And I just walked down the aisle
That's
while
because you're
everybody was
beautiful.
quiet.
It wasn't
No,
about the
well, it
modesty
wasn't
of
even
the
just
dress.
that.
It
It
was
was,
because you were
The
beautiful.
walk of shame.
And they
Yeah.
couldn't stand it.
It's
yeah.
I was disfellowshipped twice, but I didn't have the balls to go to my announcement. I had no desire to hear that. It wasn't because I was ashamed of it. I just like, why put myself through it? I'm like, I both times I got disfellowshipped, I was aggravated with the organization. So, but I feel you.
Yep.
It was always so secretive. Like my brother got disfellowshipped. I didn't know what was going on. My sister got put on reproof at one point. I didn't know what was going on. I knew something had to do with some adultery at some point and sex at some point. So I'm just like, but everything's hush hush. We can't talk about it.
My uncle got disfellowshipped for having adultery and breaking up his marriage on purpose because the wife that he had, I don't know what happened to her, but Lois got really like mentally depressed and just did nothing. No job, no housework, no cooking, just watched soap operas and was pop Prozac and was just depressed all the time. And he had enough of it, And so I found out years later, my uncle and I were close and I worked with him, that when he got disfellowshipped, he didn't even have an affair. He made it all up. He wanted out of the marriage so bad. It just goes to show that the elder arrangement is all full of horseshit. Pardon my French, but it's all baloney.
Yep. It's a lot of bullshit.
They say they pray to God over it, right? Well, why didn't God tell them that like he didn't do anything? Where's the insight? Where's the special privileges that supposedly the elders are picked by God? That's all crap.
Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit because even my situation, they didn't have to disfellowship my husband because he didn't do anything. I was the one that did something. I was gay.
So your husband he got disfellowshipped by guilty by association?
Because he was responsible for his wife. So because I committed a sin by kissing a girl and I told him about it, he also got disfellowship.
Wow, that's extreme.
I even told the elders. I even said to them, well, I mean, if you think it's Jehovah's Holy Spirit, then okay, so be it, Like, but I don't think husband should be disfellowship. Like, I should be disfellowship. I cheated on him. He didn't cheat on me.
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Hi.
Yeah, hi, Amy.
Hey,
I can hear you.
I wanted to comment because my last judicial committee meeting, in fact, in the comments, I was talking about how I just broke up with a guy yesterday. He's Primo, and he decided to declare that he wants to stay in the cult, stay in the organization, to live a morally clean life for the structure and because he doesn't want to spiral out of control.
Wow.
And I said, we're not playing this game anymore. For the past 3 years, he's been on again, off again with me, pushing and pulling me, letting me meet up with him to feel closer to him, have sex with me, and then saying he feels extremely guilty. It was a lot of manipulation in my mind. And I eventually got to the point where I said, I'm not doing this anymore. But my last judicial committee meeting was in November or December of 2022. He and I met for the first time. It was long distance, so we met midway. I had an amazing time with him. And allegedly the guilt got to him. And I was euphoric. I was genuinely happy because I loved him. And he said, this was wrong. We shouldn't have done this. You really should go to the elders and confess. At the time, he was disfellowshipped. So I was like, all right. I figured, okay, I'm in this religion. This is what I agreed to do. If it was kind of like a formality for me, I'll go to the elders, even though I don't feel guilty, because I am genuinely happy, and I'll confess. And so this was a litmus test of mine. I said, all right, Jehovah, I said, this is going to be my test to see whether or not you're really with this organization. I said, I'm going to lie. I'm going to lie during the judicial meeting. I said, if they ask me, which they did, if you had the opportunity, would you do this again? Oh, in my heart, in a second, I would have with this man, and which I did, of course. But I lied. And I said, no, I don't want to do this again. This is wrong. So, they send you out of the room and they make you wait while they pray and deliberate. And I was praying that I would get this fellowship, because then it would be the proof that I needed that God's Spirit really is with the organization. I think I might be one of the only people that I know of that went home and cried that night because he didn't get disfellowshipped.
Wow.
Because it was the proof that God's not with him. If he was, they would have known I lied.
Wow.
It was heartbreaking. And what's really strange is it's this man that I said, I don't want you in my life anymore, and I don't want to be your friend. It's either all or nothing. You're not going to stay in my life and be a platonic friend when I'm in love with you. I'm not doing that to myself.
No.
So he's the one that woke me up. He's the one that opened my eyes to the cult, and yet he's running back to it. Isn't that ironic? So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. I needed to get that off my chest with people that understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us. Thank you for sharing that.
I've been doing so much crying because of him. I mean, I genuinely love the guy. And
it's really sad what the organization has done to our loved ones, because they've taken a part of their mind. They've made them feel guilty or live as physically out, mentally in people. They've tortured people. They've caused suicides and depression. It's really sad.
It is. All right, I'm going to get ready to go to sleep. I just needed to come on and say that. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing, Amy.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Amy.
Hey, Joe and Fran, are you proud of me? I'm not hiding who I am anymore.
You're not what?
I'm not hiding my identity anymore.
Oh, good for you.
Yay.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah. I figure if people find out that I don't want to be a witness anymore, just bye. See ya.
Life is going to get more and more full for you.
That's right.
Leave on your terms.
My family don't know, but I don't shove it in their face. But if they find out I have a channel, they find out. Like, that's,
yeah.
Okay, that's who I am. So that's my journey.
My family got Joe and Fran's postcard from me, so I'm pretty sure I pissed them off.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Amy. Thank you. Oh dear. Wow.
No, I kind of feel like at the end, like before I did, before I did get assaulted, that I was trying to be disfellowshipped. Like all my friends were disfellowshipped. Like everyone I knew growing up had been disfellowshipped, and it was just like I felt so alone, especially when we moved, because it was just like all my pioneer people that I went out in service with, I had to meet all new people, and it was just like I would remember riding in the car and just like twiddling my thumbs like in circles to just like focus the energy in a place other than the fact that there were strangers sitting next to me and I was terrified of them. But I had to, I had to be social, the pioneer that's not social, which have you ever seen one? So, it's crazy. So much involved, so many stories.
Mm-hmm. Well, we appreciate you telling your story. Really do.
Well, sometimes I think I talk too much sometimes now, but I'm like, once you pop, you just can't stop. I'm a Pringle, so there.
When are you going to be going to your old congregation?
So it's good. It's crazy because I'm going a week before the Still Alive in
Oh,
2025.
that's right. That's right. You
So
said
it's going to be literally right before that. And then we're going to come back and then I'm going to hit a flight to Massachusetts.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
then we'll
going to
see
be
you there. Yeah.
Alabama, Massachusetts.
Yep, we'll see you there. Yeah, it's a good reminder if anyone, we're talking about the Still Alive in 2025 meetup in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. There's going to be, well, there's 300 people signed up already. It's going to be at the Hilton Hotel. Rick Fearon is putting it on. It's August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Even if you can't make all 3 days, I know the first day is going to be meet and greet. We're just going to meet everybody that we've seen in the chat that's going to be there. And then I
Where?
guess it's going to be near Boston, Ash. It's called
30 minutes north of Boston.
I'll send you the
Tewksbury.
information. Tewksbury,
Okay.
man. August, it would be great if you could come.
Yeah. Send it to me.
I will.
I'll see what I can do.
All right. Sounds good.
I have a question real quick, Dinah. So it's just crossing my mind about the music video because you mentioned it. So when I did the music video, the guy that was in it that acted as the priest, he's the one that had the idea to put the priest like thing on it. I wanted him to wear a tie because Jehovah's Witnesses wear ties. Like, do you think it made it confusing?
No.
Remember her video?
It's religious trauma in general. Like I think it sends a bigger message even with that because it's not just about Jehovah's Witnesses in the end. It's about all religious control groups that have been getting away with literal crimes and having their own justice system. So I think it
I
was
like to hear that.
appropriate.
Thank you. I was just like, man, should I redo the whole video again? Like, I don't want to
No.
go through it again. It was so traumatic. Even doing the music video was traumatic.
It was a great video. Don't change
You
it.
did a great job on that. There's a lot
Thanks.
in
I'll
there.
have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It's Undo Fallen Ashes.
Okay.
I was like, this girl's going to be famous. I need to get her autograph.
I don't even want to be famous. I just wanted to spread a message. And I'm going to continue making more songs based on this topic about, shunning and stuff. Just to put it out there. But, I mean, it's just, I didn't ask for this. It was just more like I'm just kind of participating in a community that I was in and spreading the message of like what happened. Basically, this is history in the making, I guess.
Yeah,
It's true.
I would explain certain things like to my husband, like what we would do and whatnot, and talk about like simple things like wearing jeans all the time because I used to always wear a skirt, and it's like he probably has seen me in a skirt maybe 3 times, and one of them was my wedding dress since we met. So just the idea of me in a skirt and knocking on doors, because I literally went from one person to the next. Well, whatever I needed to be to survive, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Wow. Sacrificing our authentic self was a lot. We were just so fake, but we did it for Jehovah because we wanted to live forever.
That's right.
I had a hard time being fake. I just
Same.
I've always been a blunt person and just got myself in trouble all the time.
Oh, I was pretty loyal, submissive in recognition.
Yeah.
Nah, I was a
This to
rebel.
our God we
I was
owe.
like, nah, I was a goat.
Stop it, Dinah, stop it.
I'm just
That's why I got the Billy Goat beard. I'm a goat.
He gives protection, tender affection.
You're triggering
Loyalty to him
Nah,
we show.
nah.
I told Fran that if if they say, the music will begin in 15
Oh,
minutes, please take your seats. If I hear that, I'm gone.
Oh
I'm
my
gone.
gosh.
I'm out.
The women, though, most women would be submissive because that's what we were taught, you know. But for men, it's kind of different. It's kind of like, you know, you hear a lot of people in the Bible that were men that were disobedient, and they kind of like, I don't know. It's different. It's a different dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yeah, but yet,
Like
see
I
them.
would pioneer, and you don't see a lot of brothers pioneer. You would see them just, you know, at home, and you see their wife out, right? But it's a
Well,
whole.
I pioneered.
pioneering was a good way to show that we were loyal and submissive. So if you pick yourself a good pioneer, you knew that that pioneer was gonna do right by like what you're supposed to do as a good little wife.
Right.
So it was just for a lineup for men.
See, the men in that organization really are made to act like women. They
Tell me
become
about it, dude.
they become beta males.
Yep.
So here
Soy
they are.
boys. They're all soy
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, cut your beard, bro.
Never. I'm
Love
like
the beard.
Samson. Don't cut the hair. It gives me my strength.
No, I love the
Part
beard.
of the reason why I have the beard is because of Watchtower. They, don't have something. Okay, well, I'll have it longer than more crazy. It's still banned in their organization.
Good for
They still wouldn't
you.
approve of my beard.
Grow it just because it pisses them off.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, there
probably
you
gonna
go.
be like, that's 2 inches too far. Like you're gonna.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I
I'll show up
always
into my
got
old Kingdom
skirts just
Hall.
below the
I don't even
knee
think
just
anyone
so I
would
wouldn't hear
recognize me.
any flack.
Right.
It's how you dress, how you walk, how you talk. Let's watch how you walk and watch how you talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
Was that a song? Oh, God. It was, wasn't it? Oh, God.
Dude, we had to sing it, 6 times out of the freaking week? My entire childhood, like these songs are engraved in my mind.
Did anyone here, ever sing, in different pitches?
Oh, I did.
I would go that and deep and everything, and my friends and even my family would laugh at me. At least in the 90s, early 2000s, you could get away with it. I never took it that seriously, even though I pioneered for a year, and that's how I met Toni Morris. But I don't know. After pioneering, I was like, yeah, this is. Once I hit the real world and got married, I'm like, I can barely hang in there.
Right.
I
Oh
didn't like
man.
singing.
Yep.
I hated singing at the Kingdom. My mom would always elbow me and be like,
I
"You
did
need
not
to
like
sing.
singing
You
at the
need to
Kingdom Hall
sing
either.
loud." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't like
yeah.
it."
I know my grandmother would tell me
It
that
was
too.
cringy
I'm
as
like, nah,
fuck.
I'm good.
Like, I don't want people to hear me sing this stuff.
Oh, you want me to sing loud? What about the song where it's and just like bees being molested? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
They got rid of that song.
Singing was like the only thing that I could not do, and they couldn't really, yeah, my mom would elbow me and stuff, but it was like my right. The only thing they couldn't
Remember,
bother me.
remember the old school songbook, the copper one.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you turn to the back of it, there was an illustration, and there were men singing, and there was one guy let me see if I can get my
Yeah.
hands in there. He was like this, and
Yeah.
my buddy drew a sandwich in it because he was also had his mouth open like that, and he drew this big hoagie in his hands. I'm
Didn't
like,
he
that
have
is too
little
funny.
color button looking things on his outfit?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
always
right. They had
like,
the
what is
Darth
that?
Vader chest
I'm
plate, the
like, what?
Darth
How
Vader
does it
chest plate.
push it? Like, what's the buttons for? I was always mesmerized by that growing up. I just
It looked
like to
like
see.
Darth Vader's chest plate, man. That's what I thought it
It
was.
did, but it had colors, and I was like, what
Yeah.
do the colors mean? It's like I always really studied the illustrations and stuff. That's why I was really impacted by them. Because
What
growing
about the
up, I was like, I
Revelation
didn't
book?
want to, like, if you're talking about stuff, crazy stuff, adult stuff that we don't, so I just stare at these pictures and try to make my own stories out of them. Crazy psycho lady that's getting attacked by a 7-headed dragon tiger thing.
Yeah, the Revelation book.
Like, this is from somebody's fantasy LSD mind that I've never seen.
I found my old Revelation book, and I was like maybe 13, 14 years old when we were studying it. And it was when O.J. Simpson killed his wife, and I doodled all over the book. And there's a politician that's in the picture, like with all the politicians, and one of them looks just like Judge Ito, and I wrote that in there. So I'm like reading all my notes and just laughing as an adult, like what I put in there as a kid.
That's awesome.
It looked just like him. There were 3 frogs in one picture with a dragon and a tank, and I think I wrote like Budweiser under the frogs because there was 3 of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I never really, I had a hard time taking it seriously. I thought it was the truth, but I just I always struggled with it. I got disfellowshipped twice for smoking pot, so it's like I was always a rebel.
Man.
Damn. Stunned for smoking pot. That's crazy.
Wait,
That's
did you confess, or did someone like say, "Dude, smoked pot"?
Actually, that's why my husband got disfellowshipped.
The first time my mother ratted me out because she caught me.
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
But this is where it gets weird. When I got reinstated, I instantly like started smoking again. and my mom caught me again.
It was like you were done with your diet.
And she caught me again, but she didn't rat me out this time.
Oh my gosh.
It was almost like, oh crap, you just got back.
That's because your disfellowshipping was harder on her than it was on you. You understand?
I guess. I don't know. It was pretty hard on me too, though. Mm-hmm. But you know what? It wasn't, because the first time I got this fellowship, I actually made some of the best friends that I ever had in my life. And everyone was telling me that worldly friends were so horrible. But like, I mean, we're not really associated together anymore because I moved, but they were really good people. And my cousin was one of them who never got, he was raised in the organization, but never got baptized. But yeah, that was actually a really good time in my life. My brother, who was disfellowshipped with me, we lived together for a little while with my sister-in-law. He was dating her back then. And he told me that I was the happiest he ever saw me. We didn't know what it was, but it was being away from the organization. It was having freedom. It was just doing what I wanted to do. I was focusing on my career, which wasn't really a bad thing, on auto body. And, I would gamble and smoke a little pot with my friends. We'd play cards together like Texas Hold'em. I mean, we weren't like these grave sinners. We made nice meals in New England together, like with the clams and stuff. And I don't know. It was good times. The Witnesses one would make you feel like if you leave their little cult, everything's going to go bad. And it's a mind trip, because things do go bad because you're under isolation. You have to readjust your life. So it's like they gaslight you.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, you're told that enough, then you believe it. Like, words have power. So if you constantly say you're going to fail, and generally you're setting yourself up for failure. So they constantly told us, that the world out there is dangerous and they're all going to hell and they're all going to die, everlasting death if you get disfellowshipped. And you get these, dragon things attacking ladies. So you believe them.
Oh, by the way, you reminded me, Eric. Actually, my husband got disfellowship because of weed. That's why he got disfellowship. Because we started edibles, but I was the one that offered him the edible.
Damn, he got disfellowship for edibles?
Yeah, it was 0.3%.
I just can't believe that they would, because at that point it's like taking a pill. What's the difference in taking like a pharmaceutical that they allow?
Yeah, we viewed it as vitamins, really. But
right, yeah, there you go. I mean, we have cannabinoid receptors. I'm not trying to just make a pro pot show for Joe and Fran. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Do you mind?
I don't mind at all, Eric.
No, I don't think that's.
Look, man, you know, I was just concerned about my husband's mental health at the time. So I was like, what
Did it help
about
him?
weed? You know, and I saw something called Delta 9, and that was 0.3%.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a lot. It was legal. It's legal in 50 states. And
Yeah, it's
we
not
tried
it's
it.
not the same. Yeah, but it's okay.
We're basically like Adam and Eve. I was Eve. I gave him the fruit, which was weed, and he ate the
Oh
fruit.
my gosh.
He ate the
I
weed,
can't
and then we
even.
The
got this
metaphorical
fellowship.
fruit.
We got thrown away. I'm a fallen angel. You know,
Wow, that's horrible.
I'm gonna write a song about it. We smoked weed and they shunned us.
I don't
Yeah.
understand how
When I
smoking
tried to get
weed or
reinstated the
gummies.
second time, oh sorry.
No, no, no. I was just going to say that I don't know how that's bad, but you can get prescribed morphine and oxycodone and get high
Tell
as
me
a,
about it.
and be still loving Jehovah. You don't know where
Yeah.
you are. You have no clue where you're at, but you just Jehovah loves you. Do a little pot, you're going to you're going to die.
Hey, San Diego has a new picture.
I have now become Cameron Mitchell. No. Ash has almost had me on the floor right now when she used the Adam and Eve illustration. I was like,
I know that was really funny, Ash.
Here's a forbidden fruit.
This has been a fun night so far. So, yeah, I think what was the theme topic? Keep living your life with happiness. Well, I think ever since I've initially changed from PMO to faded, it's like it feels like certain life has been getting a lot better for me. So, don't have a whole lot of resentment in my mind and in my heart as much, but it's kind of funny when you start like deprogramming, although I still remember the dramas by heart, which I will not do. I promised Joe I would not do that on stage. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. But
good.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting when you start deprogramming, and then how everything that you see almost like starts becoming more comical now. It's like, what in the world was I thinking back in those years? But yeah, that's the way it was. That's the way it is. So, but been a good couple of weeks. Despite some know that I was sick last week. Pretty nasty cold bug that's going around. But had a wonderful live chat with Ashes like about a week or two ago. It's on Facebook, so she knows what I look like now. And I was like, even the joke was, "Uh-oh, my face is exposed now." So, but yeah. Then JP and I, we just connected, or Shaq and I, we just connected on via text message over the weekend too. So we might end up meeting in person in Vegas when that trip comes around. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But 2025 is just a scratch on the surface. 2026, I think, is going to be a totally different. It's going to be a totally different individual for me. So I have a feeling that when my uncle, especially him, he was nothing but a bully when I was growing up, and I guess I can understand certain reasons why, but I don't really have as much contact with him, or really as much of the witness side of the family anymore, the way that I used to. So I'm kind of like distancing myself from them to a certain degree, because all they want, it reminded me of when Tony came out and was venting on Ruby's channel like about 2 or 3 months ago. All they want to do is talk about the organization, this, and that. And you just finally gets fed up with it. Like, don't you even know what's going on in real world or any other sports events or something like that? But yeah, that's just it's like everything has to revolve around that. It's almost kind of like somebody expecting the world to revolve around them and all that stuff. They have to revolve around the organization, speak of nothing but that. But I'm so glad I'm out of that now. So I'll be up visiting you all in about a couple more months. Hopefully I'll get to meet Rio also. So but we'll see what happens when we get up there. I told Jay on Discord that I'm going to try and figure out some other things to do. I just don't want to land up there and all of a sudden scramble at the last minute, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So the I'll figure out some places that I'm going to do. If they have a wild animal park, I'm curious to see what animals that they have there versus down here in San Diego. But figure I'll play that card when it happens. And
So you're coming over to the east side.
oh yeah, going on the opposite side. That'll be on what was that?
East side?
Yeah, it's going to be on
the first, second, and third.
Off on May 15th. My plan is to take the red eye out on Thursday, May 15th, and land on the 16th in the morning, as opposed to my original plan, take off Friday morning, because at least I'll have half the Friday to check in, relax, and get situated, and then be taking off Thursday morning. I was going to stay until the 24th, but that's Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure the airports are going to be packed, and plus, although I'm taking 2025 off from my 5 and 10K runs, I'm going to be cheering a few people at the school campus that I work at that are participating in a 5K event that weekend. A few younger athletes, so I'll be their little cheerleader. And in that downtown area, there's lots of establishments, so we'll probably be hanging out. So that's been one of the turns I've been doing in May, is like assisting other people that I work with. And as a matter of fact, even this Saturday, there's a trash cleanup over here at the Oceanside Harbor. And the new gym that I go to is coordinating an event to participate as a group over there. So I'm going to be joining them this Saturday, having some fun with them. We'll probably go out afterwards, but this is going to be a fun year.
That's great. San Diego, which airport did you say you're flying into?
It's probably going to be Albany, most likely.
Albany. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty central for everyone. So we can work out something. I know Fallon is in Rochester and Jay is close by. And I know there's someone in Albany that we've corresponded with. So
Adrian, I think, is up in that area too.
Yep, Adrian. Yep.
Yeah, Colty and Tony, I think, are a couple hours south of Albany. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I figure whether there's a meetup or not, that'd be fun just to go visit the clock shop or meet up on somebody at a neutral spot or a neutral site or something like that. Doesn't have to be yeah.
Can you give me the dates again? I know you sent them to me, but May.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Let's see. Geez, come on, scroller. There we go. Yeah, I'll be landing Friday morning, May 16th, and then taking off probably Thursday morning. I'm gonna probably hit an early AM, somewhere around the 5 o'clock hour. So by the time the 9-hour flight happens, I'll be landing back in San Diego about the 10, 11 o'clock hour. So, but I'm going to probably take the coaster, which is a huge north-south train in one of the cities that's not too far from where I'm down, all the way down to San Diego. So I'll probably just use public transit to get over there instead of parking my vehicle in the airport area. So
Okay, good. All right, we'll keep that in the book.
Okay, Tony's in Brooklyn. Ruby just said that, and Albany is perfect for Jay. So yeah, take lots of pictures. Oh, you can count on that. As a matter of fact, I might be going on Instagram. I'll be sure and follow those, like those who I know. Steph, I talked to Steph about this one when I was over there at her place. I think it was a couple of Sundays ago, and a couple of Sundays when Jack Gray was visiting from Canada, for those who know him. But yeah, I told her what I was going to do is I was going to put open up an Instagram account so I could start posting travel and probably food stuff over there of different establishments. One of the students that used to be a student assistant where I work at, who's now a part of the staff, had a one channel, and then I think had a separate channel for different establishments and kind of did like those mini videos that cut to different scenes that had what they had to drink, what they had to eat, and everything like that. So I'm kind of thinking of doing something like similar to that, but just with whatever I see up there, wherever I go, everything like that. Lake Placid, I'll probably do some alligator hunting. Nah, just kidding. For those in the movie.
That'll work. That'll work.
That movie made me
Oh,
terrified. of
crikey, we got an
alligators.
alligator hunter here, do we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Adirondacks are really, really pretty. And of course, Lake Placid is where they had 2 Olympics.
Mhm.
So we used to live there. We know the area.
Yeah, looks like a very pretty area. I haven't obviously this will be my first time visiting the state, but I've taken a look at some of the scenic photos I've had or I've seen on the internet, and wow, there's a lot of I mean, it definitely does not look touristy, with respectfully speaking, with New York City and all that, but
Mhm.
definitely. I remember watching a World Series between the Yankees and the Braves back in the '90s, and they showed the autumn fall season with all the golden
Mhm.
maple leaves that were up in that area, and I was like, that is awesome right there.
Yeah, it is very pretty.
It would be
I
terrible.
miss New
Someone,
England in the fall time now.
Yeah.
someone mentioned
Sorry,
about
Fran.
the flights being, and they're trying to scare you about the flights. And I'm like, it would be terrible to fly and die on a flight on the way to Still Alive in 2025.
Well, anywhere would suck, but I would have a panic attack if I had a DEI crew for my my pilots and everything. Sorry.
I ain't scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to skydive one day.
Me too. Let's go.
My wife skydived,
Let's go.
and there was no way in hell that I would ever do that because I have a fear of heights. There's just no way. And she did it, and you're attached to your instructor the whole way down, and she laughed the whole way, just hysterically laughed. And guess what happened? The next friggin' person that went had a bad shoot and died. It didn't happen in 25 years. They didn't have a death. It was this high class place in Florida. See, that would have been me. Nope. Hell no.
Well, I'm terrified of flying. That's why I'm going to do it. I'm terrified.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I can't do
So I'm
that.
going to jump out
That's
of that
one
plane.
thing. I faced a lot of fears, but I can't face jumping out of a plane.
Well, as long as I have a parachute, I'm fine.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'd probably faint.
you're with somebody the first time. They won't let you.
Yeah, you are.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
You know what can ease your anxiety? Buy a parachute, go on the plane. San Diego.
Buy a what?
A parachute. Wear a backpack that has a parachute in it.
Oh no,
from
flying
Temu?
doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm not
I'm
gonna.
sure they
I'm
sell
not gonna
those on
try.
Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna try and I'm not gonna try and play hero, but if there was another situation like 9/11, I have a feeling our citizens might react a little bit differently than the first time around. So I have a feeling that there's people that are going to try and take over the plane. I think they're going to have a whole passenger load of 40 plus people jumping all over them and probably doing who knows what to them. I don't think that's going to happen again.
I mean, I did 150 miles an hour weaving through traffic, in a BMW.
Nice.
But at heights, I shut down.
I think it's because we have a little bit more control of our fate versus, say, if you're jump out in a parachute. Well, you can try and flap your wings like Richard Kiel did in Moonraker in that James Bond movie when the parachute didn't open, but you really can't do anything more than that.
I remember that movie. That's funny.
Excuse me.
Well, I'm gonna buy a parachute.
So someone said in the chat right after this, they're going to have movie night on Discord. if anyone's interested.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Probably Ruby. It's like
I gotta jump off here and go scramble up the monkeys.
okay.
Give them a hug for us, Lisa.
Will do.
All right.
Scramble
Let me know
monkeys.
if y'all do that meetup when San Diego comes over. I'll see if I can drive up too, because that's around my birthday.
Oh, wow.
May?
That's cool.
May birthday, yes.
You're a Taurus? What?
I think I'm Gemini, because I'm the end of May. End of May.
Wow. My husband's Gemini.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that means. I just know the label.
I don't either.
I don't know what it means either. I just say it because I learned it. Because we were told not to learn zodiac signs, so I researched
No, we were, but it actually does.
It was
They
like,
actually
I'll
do
bring the
work.
devil
It's just
into your house.
they actually do have like meaning and it matters. I don't fully understand it. I learned Meyer-Briggs more. I know that very well, but I think what am I? I forget what I am. I don't know. I don't remember. I was born in October, but yeah, I don't. I know that. I know that it does shape your personality depending on what part of the seasons you were born in. Oh, I'm a Libra. That's what I am.
Okay. Yeah, we're the same thing.
Okay, word.
Well, good night, all. Good night, Libra.
Good night, Dinah Loss.
Thanks, Lisa.
Lisa, thank you for coming out.
Oh, Lisa. Sorry, I see it now.
I go by either one. Like Dinah Loss is
Yeah.
my
Lisa's more personal. That's cool. Good night, Lisa.
ExJW identifier. But yeah, I'll go by Lisa or either one. But it was good chatting, and thanks for the invite, and thank you for doing this chat. I know it helps a lot of people. It helps me. It helped me. Still helps me.
Good. Yeah. Oh, we hope it helps everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course.
Good night, all.
Good
Love
night.
you, Lisa.
Love you.
Good night.
Yeah.
Love you too.
Yeah, it helped me a lot. I don't know where I would have been had I not discovered this channel.
Yeah, I agree. It's less lonely when we have a community.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have anybody in my life if it wasn't after Desiree passed. I wouldn't have anyone in my life if it wasn't for our community and Six Screens, where I met Joe and Fran, and where I have my own show. I am thankful for all you guys and gals. I'm thankful that I've had a lot of support through going through Desiree's death, and thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to meet you. Aaron.
Yeah, we're so glad you're in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you got to meet her.
Oh, we are too.
Yeah.
We are too.
Sorry, I don't mean to bring the energy down in the room.
No,
No. We want.
You're good.
I'm glad you're glad.
I was and seeing all these people that are mentioning their zodiac signs. Rebecca is Virgo, and Ruby is Aries, I think.
Yep, wind.
No, Taurus. Ruby's Taurus.
Oh, Taurus. Okay.
One thing they got right about me is that a Capricorn is independent, and I mean, look at me, I'm living alone. So.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I got Cancer, guys, and I also got God. I gotta protect myself.
What do you have? You broke up.
I got self-defense. That's what I got.
Self-defense? What, karate?
Something like that.
I got a gun. That's my self-defense. I live in Tennessee. I could have a bazooka if I wanted. The Sherman tank is right down the street. It's for sale. Nah.
Wow. Wait, where you live?
I'm exaggerating, but Tennessee, yeah, I could get an AR-15 in 5 minutes if I wanted it.
That's dope.
A pistol was really easy to get. The guns are way easier than where I come from. I live near Joe and Fran, about 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5 hours away in Rhode Island. That's where I'm from. And guns are really hard to get there. I don't know how New York is, but they're both liberal states, and they have stricter gun laws than a conservative state like Tennessee.
Well, I got self-defense. I could learn some stuff from you. I need to learn.
There you go.
Yeah, those signs, it's crazy how accurate, almost accurate, because I remember when I was looking up what a Libra is, they value their alone time to a certain degree. I used to laugh because one of the establishments that I would go to when I was when I lived up north of when I lived up in North County it's a city called Vista. I used to kind of hang around. It was a breakfast, lunch, dinner, diner that would or tavern, I should say. But sometimes I would go in there for lunch, get some wings, and enjoy a brew while one of the games was playing. One of the college games or one of the NFL games was on. And it's like you have the crowd on one section. There was an empty section on the other side, and I always went right to the empty section to sit on my own. So it's kind of like, it was almost kind of like a mentality of like, don't bother me, leave me alone type of a thing. But I think I was just a little more timid, a little more quiet in those years and all that. So I still am to a certain degree, but not to that extreme level that I used to be. Like I'm a little bit more outgoing, where I might not be the brightest lamp in the room, but I'm not the darkest lamp in the room anymore. So I guess I'm kind of in between.
You're like a glow
Does anyone know?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No, me too. I didn't mean to talk over anyone.
Oh, no. Now people at work just think I'm a weirdo because some of my dad jokes. So, hey, I need to go run down to the store. I think driving will be faster. Oh God, you freaking like, are you and your dad jokes? I'm like, oh. But that's my partner in crime. I always jab when I'm over there too. So it always brings a certain sense of a comic relief at work when everyone's like, you can tell is a little more stressed out, because finance, that can really like be a big headache to work with, and we're like the two department clowns, if you want to call it that. I think a lot of people, if they didn't know any better, could probably think that we're like half brother and sister, if you want to call it that. So.
Did you hear about the Chinese Godfather? He made an offer no one could understand. Sorry. You mentioned dad jokes, so I had to go there.
Oh, no worries.
That was funny, though.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Dad
funny.
jokes, bruh.
Okay. I could keep going, but I'll shut up now.
Oh, no. Yeah, just using that one as an example. So. Excuse me.
You got any dad jokes, Joe?
Come on, Joe. You gotta have a good dad joke.
I looked them up, but I don't keep them. No, there's some interesting dad jokes. I really don't.
Ah, come on. I'm sure you got some.
I'll think about it. I have to have coffee first.
You should see Joe in the morning. After he's had coffee, he can do a half-hour dissertation. And I just sit there and listen to him.
Yeah.
Now he comes up with his best times in the morning.
Man makes coffee, coffee makes the man.
A Chinaman goes to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor tells him, "I know what's wrong with you." And he says, "What is it?" And he says, "You have a cataract." And he says, "No, I drive a Lincoln Continental."
Cataract.
What?
Sorry. It's corny.
Okay.
Corny and racist.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what?
It's a dad joke.
That's a good
All right,
one.
I'll stop.
No, don't stop.
I think
No, I will.
Ruby's thinking that the jokes aren't as bad as my 7-Eleven diet that I would have over there. So all the pizzas that I would get from over there. Jay has a really dirty joke, actually. I have a dirty joke. I don't know if I should say it here. So.
I'm not going to tell any of my dirty jokes. So I'm just going to shut up now.
Well, it's not vulgar as in like rated X.
No, I have really vulgar jokes, so I'm not going to go there. So okay. I'll spare Joe and Fran.
No, it's more like going to a doctor's office type of joke. That's about it. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I don't mind, but maybe.
Nah, I'm not going to tell some of my jokes.
Yeah. Hey, I have one.
I have a joke.
I have one. Okay.
Go ahead, Fran.
Oh, this is from Jimmy Bell. I can't take credit for this, but I've heard it. What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo?
Oh.
What?
One's a little heavy. The other is a little lighter. Get it?
A hippo and a Zippo.
A Zippo is a lighter. Yeah.
A Zippo is a lighter.
Well, I got one.
Oh, those Zippos. Bro.
What's the difference between an elephant and a night nurse?
What?
About 20 pounds.
Oh,
that is good.
Oh.
Now that might trigger some people.
The next dog that I'm going to get, I'm going to name him or her Syndrome. That way, when it jumps on people, I get to say Down syndrome.
Oh my God, bro.
I told that joke at a bar at a comedy. I worked there, and it was at a comedy place, like a comedy special we had where comedians. And I told that joke, and I had people going, "Oh, you can't say that because of like, I don't know, the political correctness, PC." And I'm like, "What? I didn't even say anything bad about Down syndrome. I just said the word Down syndrome." Like I didn't say anything negative about it. Woke is killing comedy, if you ask me. But
yeah,
or political correctness.
Jay's dirty joke was a white horse fell into a mud puddle. That's his dirty
Yeah, that's
joke.
a dirty one. Dirty.
Rebecca says, "Doctor says I need you to pay your bill." Why, Doc? Doc said.
Uh-oh.
You froze.
Yeah, I think they froze.
Oh, yeah, they froze. That sucks.
I was just thinking about this joke. I was thinking this joke where it goes, "Girl, you smell like garbage. Can I take you out?" Yeah. It's a joke.
Dun, dun,
Horrible.
And you're stuck with that joke. I'm just kidding.
There we go. I put the doctor joke in the chat, so just
the doctor joke. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, they disappeared, but the thing is still up.
Yeah, they'll be back. Well, it'll still keep going unless Vern closes it. My show, like when I go on and I do like StreamYard just like this, where people come on my show, and like I'll be like, all right, I've been on 3, 4, sometimes 6 hours, and I'll close down, and people will still be on it and like going. I've like came back at like 6 o'clock in the morning my time and Central Time. I'm like, damn, yo, stop. Here they are. Hey guys, we lost you.
Oh, we're back. I don't know what happened. They didn't like our joke.
We're back and we're gonna be in trouble.
Well, it looks like it's 9:59.
Yeah, time to sail off to the sunset.
That's no joke.
Oh, someone just came on though.
It's Shauna.
Yeah, Shauna.
Who did?
Shauna.
Just me. I'm just here to say goodbye to everybody. So
No,
thank you very
Shauna.
much.
Thanks for having us on, Shauna. You and Vern.
For having us on.
Yes,
Thank you guys very much. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay.
Ciao for now.
All right.
Yep.
Big
Bye.
peace.
Keep living your life with
Love.
fill in the
Love.
blank.
Keep it clean, though.
Cannabis.
Good night, everybody.
With weed.
Okay. And making friends.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I